of West Brom, a match that saw Slaven Village pick up an £8,000 fine for failing to genuflect before the self-appointed god that is Mike Dean. Those three results saw them spend Saturday night at the top of the table, before Leicester's win at Manchester City saw them drop to second. In this particular competition, they prevailed by beating Salford City 3-0 at home, and then getting rid of Fleetwood Town 5-2, in what was probably a nice cheap away.
Good evening and welcome to Eyes Up Mother Brown, your live alternative commentary from West Ham matches since lockdown began back in June. We are tonight looking ahead to the fourth round, I think that's right, Carabao Cup tie between West Ham United and Everton. Should be the other way round really, because Everton are our host, but West Ham's toughest task yet, having overcome the challenges of Hull City and Charlton Athletic, we face the Premier League. Well, they're not leaders now. I think they're second in the league, but Premier League front runners anyway. I'm delighted, as usual, to be joined by the Pink Palermo and Gnome. It is a threesome that joins you tonight here on Eyes Up Mother Brown. Good evening, gentlemen. How are we doing?
Good evening. Yeah, not too bad here.
Yeah, evening all. Yeah, all is well here.
Good. I'm just going to turn that down because we don't need to hear that. So before we get started, very quickly, are we confident, chaps, about tonight? Gnome, do you want to go first?
I think this may be where our cup run comes to an end. But I think, after the last couple of weeks and the performance is improving, I think it'll be a lot closer than had you asked me this about 4 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So, I have a feeling they may be too strong for us, but it's a cup game. Anything can happen. We've got 90 minutes plus, as we've just seen in another game. It could go straight to penalties. Every chance, but I think I think Everton are favourites if I were going to be putting money on it.
Talking about that game that's going to penalties, where are we with that one, buddy? What's
just finished? Newcastle have actually gone through 5-4 on penalties down at Newport County. It went to sudden death penalties, and the Newport penalty is basically it's heading in the general direction somewhere of Swansea, I think. It was high, wide, and horrible. Newcastle dodged a bullet there because they were 1-0 down with 3 minutes left. So. As I say, just with the lack of extra time, just goes to show how you can hang in there for 90 minutes. Anything can happen.
Very fortunate. Well, we'll see. Maybe we can do something similar tonight. Mr. Pink Palermo, how are you doing, buddy?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks, Graham. And
good.
Without being Mr. Doom to Gordon's Mr. Gloom, I share his view that we're probably looking at an honourable exit tonight in this competition. First up, I'm delighted, though, that the chairman has dug deep, really raided the piggy bank and found the money to get the players to Goodison Park. And can I just say on behalf of all supporters, Mr. Sullivan, thank you for actually finding that money. Because, you had us worried for a minute. But, now that they're there, as I commented at the weekend, I thought we'd see the threadbare nature of our squad in one or two areas exposed, and of course we're seeing that with the lineups tonight. That the front part of the team has most of the people on the KUMB Forum absolutely purring. They can see goals galore. Unfortunately, the back half of the team, I think, is probably likely to be the same situation. So what I'm predicting tonight is a relatively high scoring game, lots of goals in it, but I think Everton will come out just on top.
I don't know if this is a good omen, and you might not be able to see this on the screen, but I've just found a money spider crawling down the back of my neck. So hopefully that's a good omen as far as West Ham are concerned. Anyway, there you go, little fella. You go up there and do your thing. I haven't seen anyone seen any magpies outside today, or any other superstitions that perhaps we should be concerned about. Anyone walked under any ladders? No, good stuff. No, let's get off with the teams. We're about 8 minutes from kickoff, so let's have a quick look at the lineups before we start and see how both sides are preparing to begin.
Yeah, well, considering it's the League Cup, they're two relatively strong lineups from both sides. We start off with Darren Randolph in goal, back four of Johnson, Cresswell, Rice, and Balbuena, and then we have Noble, who's back captaining for the day. Lanzini, Snodgrass, Anderson, Yarmolenko, and Haller leading line up front. On the bench, we have Nathan Trott, Harris and Ashby are the two youngsters on the bench, but it's a very experienced rest of the bench with Ogbonna, Masuaku, Suchek, Bowen, and Fornals, all, I say bench, the spare seats behind the dugout and wherever they're allowed to sit these days. Fairly strong lineup from Everton as well. They go with Pickford in goal. Then they have Kenny, Keane, Dean, Nkunku, Allen, Delph, Sigurdsson, who's captain for the night, Rodriguez, who Pinky has threatened to kill me if I call him James. So James Rodriguez, Richarlison, and currently on form Dominic Calvert-Lewin. On the bench, they have Coleman, Mina, Davis, Decore, Bernard, and I can't read me. Oh, Iwobi. Iwobi, who's a former Hornchurch boy.
Good stuff. Thank you, Gnome. Anything you sort of picked out particularly there from the lineup? So Rice looks like he's going to be starting at centre half. Yeah,
Rice at centre half is well, two things with that. One will keep the conspiracy theorists going for a little while, I suppose. But picking Rice, of course, would cup tie him in the event of any mood, he said mischievously, just to wind people up. But yeah, he's been picked at in central defence. Obviously, Diop still not allowed out at the moment, so that's a rejigging of resources there. And Snodgrass obviously is becoming our League Cup specialist, I think, at the moment. So yes. But as I say, it's more a case of whereas before the previous two rounds, it's been the sort of the non-starting first team players plus youngsters thrown in. We're now actually putting those non-starting first team players in at the start, but the players they're replacing are going to the bench rather than having a complete rest. So, which isn't really much of a surprise. I had that in my head, given that Everton have gone with a fairly strong lineup in the previous rounds. So yeah, I thought we might sort of up our experience quotient for this one. So yeah, not at all surprised.
Yeah, not a lot of inexperience in that starting 11. There's a Ben Johnson. I'm about 15 years too late. Ben Johnson playing at fullback tonight, probably West Ham's most inexperienced player. And, no place for the likes of, well, as you said, Ashby on the bench and a couple of the other youngsters that have played. Of course, Josh Cullen can't play, still recovering from coronavirus. So, yeah, quite an experienced team put out tonight. Mark Noble, of course, thrown back into the middle. Pinky, looking at the lineups there, anything you sort of pick out from either team, really? I mean, it looks like once again Everton are going with a pretty strong starting 11.
Yeah, I mean, fair play to the Everton manager. I don't think their supporters could accuse him of not taking the competition seriously.
Sure.
I'm looking at their midfield in particular, and I suspect where the game's going to be won and lost in terms of a battleground, it's usually in the middle of the park. And I think Everton have got the edge on us there tonight. We've got 33-year-old Mark Noble lining up in the middle for us, 33-year-old Bobby Snodgrass one side of him. So looking at them, Sigurdsson, Allen and Delph, I think they'll probably have the edge in the middle of the park. And you've got to say, Ben Johnson tonight, I mean, what a baptism of fire, Look at the firepower up against him tonight. Richarlison and Rodriguez. I mean, these are two stone cold killers, absolutely murderous players on form. They're playing well at the minute. And Calvert-Lewin in the middle there. That's a huge amount of firepower from Everton against our backline, which I think looks to be a little bit short on either experience or just defensive now. So, if we get something here tonight, it would be hats off to this team that we're sending out, but I can't see it. And it's a big ask tonight. It really is.
We're just about. Thank you, Pinky. Thank you, Gnome. We're just about to get underway here at Goodison Park. Everton versus West Ham United, the fourth round of the Carabao Cup. A welcome to everybody who's joining us on the live stream. Hi, Hobo, Eduardo, to Mark Vaughan, Derek Harris, who points out there's no Antonio in the 18 today. Probably no surprise there. But plenty of over 30s in the West Ham 18 anyway, or a few anyway, to start with, especially Mark Noble back in the team tonight, looking to show what he can do and perhaps even force himself back into the start. The player's currently just taking the knee. We'll do a time check very shortly, gentlemen, to see roughly how we are with each other tonight. Because as we know, anyone who's a regular on the streams knows sometimes we're not always entirely sure. The game is underway anyway. Have we all kicked off?
I'm about 7 or 8 seconds behind, I think.
Okay.
I'm not kicked off here yet. They're still focusing on Mark Noble, who tonight makes his 505th appearance for West Ham United, which of course brings him level with Vic Watson, the club record goal scorer. So congratulations to Mark Noble. Great achievement. And I think that moves him up to number 8, I think, on the all-time appearance list. So just behind Steve Potts, I believe. And I'm underway on my screen here now.
Okay, good stuff. Well, we're all relatively close. None of this 90-second gap that we had at the weekend anyway, which caused havoc with the live stream. West Ham on our screens are kicking from left to right. It's Everton who are in possession at the moment as they look to play the ball down the right-hand side. Those experienced players coming into the fore already. Calvert-Lewin and Rodriguez Sigurdsson already involved. And Everton have possession. The first minute pretty much played in and around the middle third with Everton pretty much in control so far. Ben Johnson, Gnome, Pinky's already pointed out how difficult it's going to be for him tonight. What do you make of that? And of course, we're playing a slightly different formation by the looks of it tonight.
Yeah, he'll need Yarmolenko, who seems to have slotted in on the right, to be lending a hand from time to time. Not always Yarmolenko's forte, so we need to see him do a bit of work. But similarly, Anderson, if he moves over to the right at any stage, the defence will need the midfield, particularly on the flanks, to be chipping in, shall we say. Just to give you a time check, I'm on 1:44.
Okay, about 7 seconds behind. We've just seen a long ball played into the box to Sebastian Haller, who's held it up inside the box. He's looking for support with his back to goal. He's played it back to Lanzini, but it's a poor ball and Everton regained possession. Haller not really supported particularly well there, but the ball that he played back was rather poor and quite a long raking pass into Haller there, Pinky. Is that the sort of thing we can perhaps expect from West Ham tonight? You know, not sort of trying to play those intricate passes in and around the box, just sort of get the ball forward and almost Allardyce style, I suppose, and try and hit Everton on the break.
Yeah, I mean, if ever there was a game to make sure you try and play it in the opposition half as much as you can by any means possible, tonight's the night. You know, because I've mentioned it already, the firepower Everton have got up front. You don't want them, running at our defence tonight. So a little bit unsophisticated maybe, but it'll be lots of balls over the top, I think, tonight. And maybe Haller running onto one if we get lucky. It'll be one of those sorts of nights. I mean, I'm looking at the game now. Everton look well in control of the ball. They're just passing around along the back at the minute, trying to build something down their left, down our right. And looking at it now, yeah, they're going to target our right back. No question about that tonight. No question.
Yeah, I've just seen a long ball played down the flank. Ben Johnson wants a goal kick, but the referee's having none of it. And they're looking dangerous here. But Fabian Buena standing strong, finding Mark Noble and West Ham trying to clear the lines. Manuel Lanzini gives possession away 30 yards from goal. Really dangerous place. And Everton look to break into the box, but 4 or 5 West Ham players smother Richarlison as he bursts into the box. Everton have possession again. The ball's played out onto the left-hand side. It's Fabian Delph in possession. He plays the ball inside and it's played back to the halfway line. And Everton retain possession. And it's played all the way back to Pickford. Pickford, no, in goal. Question marks possibly about the England goal.
Yeah, I mean he's getting picked for England on the strength of his last tournament. Really, I think I don't think you'd find too many people outside Goodison Park who wouldn't fancy Pope as number one choice rather than Pickford. There have been a number of high-profile errors from him in the league, but Southgate is keeping faith with him. I would say just a couple of little points there. There was the attack you were describing that came down our right on Johnson. There were two little things. One, it actually did go out really for a goal kick. Yeah. I also thought that Balbuena in trying to clear was fouled, and but nothing was done about either of those. But Balbuena was getting stuck in and winning the loose ball in there. As we're going down our left now, I'll leave over to you.
Yeah, West Ham breaking with Felipe Anderson, but it comes to nothing. Everton regained possession, but a strong tackle put in by Declan Rice, who stepped out of that central defensive area. But to no avail. The ball is retained by Everton. Everton pretty much in control so far, Pinky. Not really either goal threatened. We're 5 minutes and 30 seconds into the game. But, I guess this is the way we expected the game to go, isn't it? With Everton sort of controlling the game and West Ham looking to hit on the counter, perhaps.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah, we've got to be realistic about the side we've got out there. And it's Snodgrass and Noble now. Neither of them are going to be first choice picks for the, dare I call it, the Saturday side. It's an ageing midfield. And we saw it, a few minutes ago when Lanzini was very untidy on the edge of our box. This is the second string midfield that we've got out tonight, and Everton's second string midfield, if you can call it that, with Allen in the middle there, is far stronger. So if we're going to get anything, it'll be on the break. But you never know. If we knew the result beforehand, none of us would ever watch. So keep your eyes peeled.
Very true. 6 minutes, 16 seconds gone. Everton breaking with Richarlison on the left-hand side. A good tackle put in by Johnson, and Noble mops up, finds Yarmolenko, who for a change has come back to help out in defence. The ball's played back to Noble, who clears one down the line, looking for Haller. Haller's done very well to use his strength to see off the challenge of Digny and find Lanzini. Lanzini bursting into the final third. He finds Anderson on the left. Anderson looks inside. He's looking to let one go. It's cut inside. He's had a shot. It's low to the left. But Pickford is down to save smartly to his right. First shot on goal of the night. It comes from West Ham. It's that sort of quick break we're talking about, Gnome, on the counter.
I'm just seeing it now. Yeah, it lacked a little bit of oomph on target, but it was it was a good bit of football on the break there. Just seeing that shot again really didn't trouble Pickford too much there. Just had to go down and throw his cap on it a little bit, really. One thing I noticed earlier, the other attack that we had where Haller had got in behind and his pass to try and bring others into it was wayward, you recall. But we did manage to get, I think, at least 4 people up into the box in support there.
Yeah.
Which was good to see. It's just they'd all kind of gone into places where it was difficult for Haller to actually pick anybody out. Everybody had gone behind an Everton player.
Yeah.
But the theory was good, getting the players in support. And if we can actually get a little bit more intelligence with that sort of thing.
Good. So also talking about Haller there.
Yeah.
Sorry, just going to say, talking about Haller there, good to see him creating that last attack, really, by winning that difficult ball up, played into the centre of the park, holding off Digny and freeing Lanzini to burst forward. So good signs, really, from the big man there.
Yeah.
So anyway, 8 minutes gone. Everton nil, West Ham United nil. Sorry, Pinky.
Yeah, that's what we've been calling them to do is get actively involved. You can grow old waiting for the ball to come to you in this country. And Haller there, he is a big lad. He puts himself about, gets stuck in, and whilst it doesn't sound particularly sophisticated, part of the game is making sure you hang on to the ball in the opposition half. He did that and created the start of an opportunity for us there. Everton now on my screen bursting down the right. Their right, that is. But poor ball in, easily picked up by Randolph.
9 minutes gone. Everton nil, West Ham United nil. Hello to Steve Palmer, Lowell Green, Mark English, Sean McCarthy, all joining us live on the stream on KUMB.com's YouTube channel. Good to see you, gentlemen. And let us know throughout the game what you're thinking of the match, what we should be doing, how we should be playing it. We presume that we're just seeing West Ham with a free kick, sort of 45 yards from goal. It's played short by Snodgrass to Noble, who plays it on the left to Felipe Anderson. The referee has called it back to be retaken for what I'm not quite sure, but we'll stick with this for a moment. Snodgrass again plays the same short ball, 2 yards to Noble on his left. He plays it straight out to Lanzini. He plays it out to Anderson. Anderson is on the left, 2 players around him, plays it back inside, and West Ham keep possession. Noble now has the ball, 35 yards from goal, finds Snodgrass, plays it back to Noble, who looks back towards the halfway line where Fabian Balbuena builds again. He plays it out to the right-hand side this time, looking for Johnson, who looks to play it down the line, but it's cut out, and Everton now with an opportunity to break. West Ham slightly called out with numbers. The captain for the night, Sigurdsson, in possession, but choosing to play it short, and the momentum's really gone for Everton. And the ball's just kind of been played around in the middle of the park at the moment, and nothing really happy. West Ham with the only shot, Gnome, so far in the game. One thing I wanted to touch, I was just seeing a ball play through, and it's over the top. It's a great touch, and it's going to be a goal, and Everton have scored. It's a goal for Calvert-Lewin. The ball played over the top. Calvert-Lewin taking it down superbly and just putting it round Darren Randolph to give Everton the lead with their first shot of the match in the 11th minute. Gnome.
Yeah, hands are going up to look at offside. As you know, I'm a few seconds behind you, but
No, I think
let's have
Johnson's
a look
playing
at
him
this
on.
now.
I think Johnson's
And,
playing him on. Yeah.
Yeah, I think, Johnson's played him on. Lovely first touch. Yeah, it's a great finish from Calvert-Lewin. There's a player who's obviously got confidence. The first touch on his left foot to bring it down, and then just chipped it in with his right. It's superb finish. Got caught square there. Johnson didn't push up. Was the player that playing him on, and lovely finish. Not much more you can say about that. It's hats off to the lad.
West Ham up against it already in the 11th minute. Pinky, ball played through by Keane, I think, there, and it was a fairly simple ball over the top. Sunday League stuff, wasn't it?
Nothing Sunday League about Calvert-Lewin's first touch there.
Sure.
Absolutely glorious from the Everton player. And that's what you do when you're full of confidence and you're scoring every week. You feel you can do anything on the park. And that's as good a finish as you'll see all season, because the first touch made it. Actually brought the ball under control with the left, put it past Randolph with the right. Good goal by Everton. And I'm afraid for us, it's going to look like a long night tonight now.
Not a great start by West Ham, conceding from the first shot Everton have mustered. It took them 12 minutes to do so, but it's in the back of the net anyway. West Ham up against it, and now Everton looking to break. Again, Calvert-Lewin, the danger man, looking to be played in by Sigurdsson, and Rice has done well. Rice, of course, playing at centre-half tonight, mopping up, playing the ball back to Randolph, who hoiks it towards the centre of the park where Mark Noble wins possession. He's tackled and it falls to Hilaire. Hilaire is tripped, and West Ham have a free kick, 5 yards inside the Everton half. Gnome.
Yeah, as Peggy said, it was a superb finish from Calvert-Lewin. When you get that first touch was basically was the goal. It made it so easy for him to put it away with the second touch. And as both I and Pinky said, if ever you wanted to see a player with confidence, that was it. Doesn't bode well. Sorry, do you want to take over because we seem to be on the attack?
No, God, it's like it's broken down. So it's all back with Randolph now.
Yeah, my thought that. My initial thought, though, while we were waiting to kick off there a second or two ago, was who are we playing on Saturday? Because that's precisely the sort of ball that our opponents on Saturday are so fond of.
Mm-hmm.
And although 2 of his goals came from penalties, Vardy got those penalties by making that precisely that sort of run, keeping onside, getting goal side of the defender.
We're just cutting their names. West Ham looking to counter. Lanzini's 25 yards and goal. Plays it out left to Felipe Anderson. Anderson chips one towards the back post. Yarmolenko's free. He's brought it down, but it's a slightly poor touch, and the ball's cleared away. I think it's going to be retrieved by Johnson for a throw into West Ham here. 35 yards from goal. Bit of a shame there. Decent work by West Ham on the left. once again trying to break quickly, but we'll stick with it for just a moment because Ben Johnson has a throw in 10 yards inside the Everton half on the right-hand side. He's looking for options. There aren't at the moment. He's gone along to Hilaire, who nods it back to Yarmolenko. Yarmolenko plays it inside to Lanzini. Lanzini's chipped it over the top of the Keane, looking to win it again, but it's come off his arm, and the referee has given a free kick to our host tonight. Pinky, you are going to be keeping an eye on the forum for us tonight, just to see what's going on. So we'll have a look at that in just a moment. But how do West Ham get back into this? Do we just stay as we are, or do we have to change? It's early days yet, isn't it? But do we need to change?
No, because ultimately, short of bringing on the players that the manager didn't want to start with because he wants to give them a bit of a rest, I'm not sure there's much we can do with the players that are actually out there. I think what's imperative is don't give another goal away before half time. Stay in the game any way we can, and to stay in the game, it means just keep the margin down to a 1 goal difference. So for me, I would desperately try and hang on to the ball a bit more than we are, and just almost try and put Everton to sleep. They could be of a mindset currently. They're in front. They'll say, yeah, we're happy with that. But for us, I just think 30 minutes without conceding is important to us now.
Everton have a free kick 30 yards from West Ham's goal on our right-hand side. The foul conceded by Aaron Cresswell, a little trip. They're going to be looking to swing the ball in. Calvert-Lewin is ominously hovering in the centre. It's played deep towards the penalty spot. It's gone up and evaded everyone. Randolph down low to clutch it, and he rolls the ball out on the left-hand side to Noble, who plays it first time to Felipe Anderson. Anderson bursting away down the left-hand side. Here's those quick attacks we were talking about. Plays it inside to Lanzini. Lanzini finds Snodgrass, who plays it back out to Anderson. Anderson just can't quite get his foot on the ball and loses possession. But, we're just seeing Everton come back now. We're on the halfway line. A run forward from Richarlison. He's looking for support 35 yards from West Ham's goal. Plays it inside. Everton retain possession at the moment, just keeping hold. Rodriguez, who we haven't seen a lot of yet, has a couple of touches, gets his foot on the ball, plays it back inside to Delph. Delph bursts into the penalty box, has a shot. It cannons back off Johnson with his back to the ball, and the ball rebounds to Snodgrass, who's looking to play it out. Lanzini now with the ball, 30 yards from West Ham's goal, plays it wide to Aaron Cresswell. Cresswell on the left-hand side, right by the touchline, looking for an option. Plays it to Anderson, who is tripped, I think. Yeah, it's a free kick to West Ham, Gnome.
Yeah, something we haven't touched on there is I'm just seeing Anderson go down now. Something we didn't touch on a few seconds ago. We had a shout for a penalty as Lanzini sort of played the ball over the defender. Defender actually had it. Having seen the replay there, do you want to take? So no, we're not going forward after all. But as he went in, the defender certainly had his arm across Lanzini's shoulder, and there was a little bit of a sort of bodily nudge into the back there. That let me put it this way: across the other side of the park that backs onto this ground. They'd have probably got that, the home side.
West Ham looking to break down the right-hand side. Sorry, no, it's looking for Yarmolenko. The ball's rolled back to Pickford, and Pickford's took a wild swing at it. And like me with the 7-ironers, hoiked it straight out into touch. A dreadful hack on that. West Ham building again. Robbie Snodgrass in the middle of the park. Looks up, plays the ball long out to the left to Anderson, who's going to need 12-foot long legs to reach that one. He's not going to reach it, and it's a throw-in to Everton. Quick look at the YouTube comments before I come to Pinky for a quick look at the forum match thread. Mark English said he looked offside, I think referring to that chance, possible penalty call, whatever, handball from Lanzini. Sean McCarthy says, hey, where are you guys watching the match? We're all at home, Sean, like you, watching via the Carabao Cup live feed. £10. We've paid for the privilege to see West Ham go one behind after 30 minutes. Let's hope we've got a goal in us. Which is what Spencer Neal says. Hope it's enough. He says we've got at least one in us tonight. Hobo says looked like a penalty to me, Gnome. So someone in tune with you. Pinky, what's happening on the KUMB Forum match thread, buddy?
Yeah, I mean, similar comment from Das Nut Knock 2, which we all know is Philly Dan, really. He's just gone with looked like a pen to me. Comment from the Green Man, should have given Alicia a chance tonight. Because we need Rice's legs in midfield. Maybe, I mean, frankly, look at that Everton front line. how many youngsters are you really going to expose to that? And Hammerman 2004 said, excellent goal, but Rice got absolutely left in no man's land. So a little bit of doom and gloom, I think, on the forum right now.
We have almost seen a second, thank you, Pinky, almost a second goal for Everton there. Richarlison released on the left-hand side by Rodriguez, I think it was. He cut inside Balbuena and tipped one towards the bottom corner with the outside of his left boot. Darren Randolph doing very well to get down and get a hand on it. It's actually scooped it up over the bar somehow, and it's gone out for an Everton corner. 20 minutes gone, Gnome.
Yeah, that I mean, it's a good save, but the ball could well have gone just about anywhere off it. Job number one was keep the initial shot out, and probably relieved as anyone to see it go over the bar. I'll leave you for the corner.
Yeah, the ball's swung back into the middle. There's plenty of players going in, but it's evaded everyone. It's gone out for a goal kick. Back to you, Gnome.
Yeah, I'm just watching that, evading everybody and going out for a goal kick, as you put it. So yeah, I mean, good save, but yeah, a little bit of fortune about where the ball went after he got his hand on it. Yeah, I mean, we're getting a little bit more possession, but it is worrying that when they come back on the break after we do lose possession, Richarlison, have you put it, Richarlison, is seeing quite a lot of the ball and he's looking a bit dangerous. I think Haller's just been pulled up for offside.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, as we saw, well, as we heard in the earlier game, it's 1-0. You get an 87th minute equaliser. Yeah. You can sort of scrape your way through like Newcastle did. So
Richarlison plays the ball inside to Rodriguez, 20 yards from goal. He's looked to play. It's a clever little ball behind, and it's 2-0. Richarlison has put the ball between Darren Randolph's legs, but he's holding his hands because the flag is up for offside, Pinky. West Ham escaped there.
Yeah, I haven't quite seen that yet, so I'm going to comment on the previous chance that Richarlison had, and he should have made it 2-0 a couple of minutes ago, you know, with his left foot shot that Randolph saved. And there now, absolutely, yeah, he's offside, I think. And
I'm not sure he is, you know. Have another look at the replay that's coming up in a few seconds.
Head and knee.
Is his head offside? Yeah, it looked like his feet were onside, but perhaps the head, yeah.
Head and knee did it for. I mean, we haven't got VAR in these early rounds of the League Cup, but head and knee, you know, it's one of those that in a previous non-VAR season you probably would have had it been given, you'd have probably not moaned too much about it, sort of thing. But
Felipe Anderson swings the ball in for the left. It's found Haller, who's played it out right to Anderson, who's sent to the deck. And it looks like it's going to be a corner to West Ham. 23rd minute. Pinky, yeah, just coming back to that chance quickly. I mean, you're quite happy with the offside call there? Yeah,
absolutely. The liner's got it right. And yeah, absolute proof. You don't need VAR. What you need is competent officials.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm quite happy to be in a competition without VAR. Oh, yeah, bit of a chance there. No, not at all. Corner to West Ham, it looks like. Is that what's showing your screen?
Rob Snodgrass just lining up to take it, looking at his options in the middle. He's swinging it over now. It's into the edge of the 6-yard box. It falls amongst several players, and it's Hoyt clear. It's spooned out, actually, 35 yards. It's played back into the penalty box looking for Anderson, and across comes Keane to nod it out for a corner. On the other side, it's played very quickly by Anderson to Noble, who plays it back. Anderson now looking to play it back in, but takes a touch and is... I'm not quite sure what's going on here. The referee's put his flag up. I don't know if that's offside or what. No? Any ideas?
I think when it was played back to Anderson, he may have been offside. Yeah. Difficult to see because you can't quite see all the way across the line, but that's what it's looking like anyway. Which, if that's the case, is silly ball to be playing back to him. It was a good header out. Was it Rice left at the back there or Cresswell? Couldn't see who, but headed that ball out wide to Anderson where we forced the second corner.
Cresswell, I think.
Very clever header that, but nothing came of it.
24 minutes gone. Everton 1, West Ham United 0. Everton have had 2 shots so far. Both have ended up in the back of the net. Fortunately for West Ham, the second was cancelled for offside, a marginal offside by Richarlison. But as Pinky says, great decision by the linesman. We're just seeing Everton look to break on the right-hand side yet, but that move has broke down. There's a terrible ball played back to Darren Randolph by Declan Rice from inside of his box. He's absolutely hammered it back. One of those that, you usually expect to play wide of the goal, and it's actually going straight into the centre. But Randolph does well to keep an eye on that, Pinky, and hike it clear. A little bit dangerous from Deckers there.
Yeah, haven't quite seen it yet, so I think I've got it coming up here any second now.
Oh, I'll come back to you in a second, Pinky, because Balbuena's just given away a terrible ball to Calvert-Lewin, but credit to him, he's the Paraguayan centre-half has come back, but Everton regained possession and looking to prosper again here. The ball's played out to the left, but it's some terrible passes going on at the moment, and the ball's hammered off Rodriguez out for a West Ham throw. Some shocking play there, no, altogether.
Shouldn't that be jammered off Rodriguez? Yeah, that was an awful ball by Balbuena, but as you say, he did well to get back, and in the end, the attack came to naught. Yeah, as I say, it's we're trying to take the game to them, but we've got to be a lot less sloppier than that.
We've just seen Aaron Cresswell swinging across from the left. That's missed everybody in the box and gone right across the face of goal. Haller was the only one in the box kind of attacking it. But we're just seeing West Ham look to build again. Mark Noble just inside Everton's half. Plays it inside to Snodgrass, who plays it across to Cresswell. Cresswell with Anderson in front of him and finds him. The Brazilian turns to face Kenny and looks to attack the left, but instead looks to come inside. He's still got the ball. He's still trying to work some magic. Lays it off to Snodgrass. Snodgrass on the left, out to Cresswell. Cresswell down the line to Lanzini. Is Lanzini onside? Yes, he is. Play continues. Plays it down the line to Snodgrass. Now here's the chance. Pulls it back, but it's a poor ball from... Oh, but that's an absolutely dreadful clearance, only as far as Ben Johnson. We'll stay with this for a second. Snodgrass curls one in from the left, looking, and it's another poor ball from us. There's a lot of shocking balls being played tonight, Pinky, so far. Not a lot of quality out there. I guess, the fact that we've only had 3 shots on goal kind of illustrates just how poor it's been so far.
Yeah, I mean, and there's still a few of them out there not playing all that much football at the minute, and which doesn't help. But bizarrely, I'm quite encouraged by this so far, because on my screen, we're halfway through the first half. There's only 1 goal difference at the minute, and when you consider how much better Everton are looking tonight than us, I'll take that at this point in time. If we can get through to half time like this, I'd make some changes at half time, and you never know. It's we're hanging on in there, and as long as we do that, we've still got a chance.
27 minutes gone. Everton looking to build once again. A ball's played down the right flank this time. And Everton keep possession 25 yards from West Ham's goal. It's played right the way back to the halfway line. And Keane is looking ahead of him. Can he play a ball in? He plays it short. Wood takes it back from Calvert-Lewin. And now he's going all the way back to Pickford. 27 minutes, 20 seconds gone. Thank you to Dan for pointing out that I did also, when making a summary of shots, missed the save from Darren Randolph in the 20th minute. So it's 3 shots actually to Everton. My mistake. Thank you, Dan, for pointing that out. West Ham's only shot so far coming in from Anderson, the first shot of the night after 7 minutes. It's 1-0. Mark English says, poor in the final third. Very true, Mark, so far. But West Ham looking to build again. It's Mark Noble, sweeps the ball out on the right-hand flank to Yarmolenko, who has Johnson overlapping. Is he going to use him? He's got it on the left-hand, on his left foot. No, he cuts inside. Cuts the ball over to Lanzini, and Lanzini's inches away from getting on the end of it in the 6-yard box, and the ball goes all the way back to Pickford. Gnome, great chance for West Ham there.
I've just caught up with it, yeah. One of those ones that's curling in towards the goal, and Lanzini's running across at an angle, and he needs to grow a foot. It would have been a lovely goal had he been a few inches taller, shall we say?
Yeah, very much so.
Yeah, nice play from Yarmolenko. His sort of trademark cutting in a little bit from the right there, but let's keep plugging away. Let's keep plugging away. Like Pinky, we're not being taken apart here.
Yeah.
I'll pass over you now because Everton are on the attack.
Rodriguez is on the edge of the box. He's cut round, gone round two. And there's a chance here for Everton on the right. The ball's played across, but it's great defensive work from Aaron Cresswell, who hurls himself to the deck to prevent Richarlison's shot from reaching West Ham's goal. James Rodriguez quite instrumental there for the first time really in the game, going across the penalty box, losing 2 or 3 players, playing it out wide to Richarlison, who looks to fire across Darren Randolph into the bottom side of the goal, the far corner. But to Aaron Cresswell, Pinky, hopefully you've seen that. They're coming across and doing a great job defensively.
Yeah, absolutely, because he's stopping the ball coming across, and that's the key component of preventing chances. So for me there, Cresswell's done his job, done it well. Yeah, good effort by Cresswell. And of the 2 managers at this point in time, you'd probably think that Irving on our touchline is a touch happier than Ancelotti is, because Ancelotti has put his absolute big guns out for this in the front part of the team, and he'd probably be disappointed not to go in 2 or even 3 goals up at half time. So I keep saying it, 15 minutes to go to half time. And if we can weather the storm, we've then got a real puncher's chance of this. And, how many more cards has Ancelotti got to play? I don't think he's got a stronger front 3. So for my money, if we just shore up our backline a bit at half time and move Rice into midfield, so maybe bring Bonner on, and move Rice into midfield, possibly bring Souček on as well, we could actually give this a real go in the second half.
West Ham looking to attack. Halera with the ball, 30 yards from goal, plays it out wide to Yarmolenko, who's looking dangerous on the edge of the box. Once again, he's looking to come inside, but chooses to stay on his right foot this time. Blocked by 2, closed down very well by 2 Everton players. Ben Johnson makes a good tackle on Richarlison, who was looking to get the ball away from the danger zone. Just having a look at West Ham's options on the bench there, as Pinky pointed out, we do have options to change the team around. Trott, of course, the goalkeeper, but we've got Ogbonna, Masuaku, as we know, the last couple of weekends has played really well as a wing back. Ashby maybe an option. So we're just seeing West Ham look to break again, but it's gone out for a throw-in 10 yards from Everton's byline. Yarmolenko picks it up. We'll stick with this for a second. He's dropped the ball and allowed Ben Johnson to pick it up and throw the ball short to Lanzini. Lanzini looks, it's very tight in there. He plays it to Yarmolenko, promptly loses possession as Richarlison bursts out of Everton's half. And there's a very quick ball play to Calvert-Lewin. Now he's looking with only Balbuena to beat. He cuts inside, lets one go from the edge of the box, curls it just over the bar. Quick attack from Everton. We were just going to have a quick look at the options on the bench there. If you want to take us through what we've got very quickly and talk about what options we've got there.
Just a quick comment on that counter attack, which is, I did say earlier on that it's where I have my concerns. We are allowing them to sort of make runs from deep, and our sort of midfield aren't always tracking those runs, so they're able to run between the lines. And as we saw there, that was quick and incisive. As for the bench, obviously Trott's the keeper, but we've got Ogbonna as an option for the defence, which would allow Rice to resume his more natural midfield role. Masuaku, earlier on, I was thinking when I was watching as we were playing the ball down our left-hand side without much sort of in the way of progress. And I did wonder, do you want to take over? No, we're not going forward again. Sorry.
Well, yeah, we're just playing. The ball's coming to Anderson on the left of the box. He's looking to cut inside again. He's faced by 3 Everton players. Rolls it back to Cresswell, who curls one into the edge of the 6-yard box. Haller's gone up to win the header, but he's beaten to it, which is fortunate for Everton because he would have been faced with a free header had the ball not been cut out. The ball's back out with Johnson on the right flank. West Ham have a throw in 12 or 13 yards from Everton's byline. We'll stick with this for just a second. Richarlison doing some good defensive work there. It's Ben Johnson with the throw in for West Ham. Looking for options. He takes a breather, deep breath, hands above his head. He throws the ball short to Lanzini. It's played back towards Johnson, but West Ham lose possession again. It's hoofed clear in the direction of Calvert-Lewin, who keeps possession, and Everton have the ball once again. Gnome, back to you.
Yeah, I was about to say that we had the ball out left. This is a few minutes back, and we weren't really making much progress. And it was one of those sort of situations, as Everton are now coming forward, that seemed to be crying out for somebody to run at them. And I was thinking maybe Masuaku might not be a bad option at some stage towards, if it's still 0-0 with about 20 left. Maybe just to bring on something different, because what we have got, Everton are coping quite well with at the moment. Whereas Masuaku brings that sort of, nobody quite knows what's going to happen, least of all him, type air to proceedings. So that I thought that might be a good option.
It's good to know. Sorry, no, go on, carry on.
Yeah, of course, the other options we have there in Bowen and Fornals for the attacking options. So, but I think Masuaku's the sort of unpredictable joker in the pack that if you want to bring someone on to change things, that might not be worth a throw of the dice.
Yep. Okay. We've just seen the ball fall to Sigurdsson just inside West Ham's box. He's tried to put the ball across goal, but it's blocked and cleared by West Ham. But Everton definitely the stronger of the two teams so far, as you would expect for the reasons Pinky pointed out earlier. They've got some very, very strong players up on the pitch this evening, whereas West Ham, of course, still resting a few, not playing that formation that has proved so profitable in the last couple of games, reverting to a flat back four this evening. Richarlison on the ball, looking to go towards West Ham's penalty box. He's played it inside. It's a loose ball. It's fallen to Sigurdsson, who's had a go from 25, 26 yards. It's a poor effort and blocked by Rice. West Ham clear the ball, and Felipe Anderson's put in a good challenge. Tried to steal possession, but he can't quite make it. And Everton look to build once again. A couple of players really standing out for Everton so far. I think Calvert-Lewin's looked very, very good. And Rodriguez also sort of, not Rodriguez, Richarlison, very, very busy defensively. And
Richarlison's been outstanding for Everton tonight. Mainly, in my view, for his work rate. He's been willing to do, the dirty work, the tracking back, the tackling, and I think he's a fine example of a flair player who's willing to graft. And top marks to Ancelotti. He's got a decent Brazilian there, and he's making him work. And that's really how it should be. But credit our lads. I keep saying it. It is only 1-0. Disappointment for me tonight. Yarmolenko's one leg again. Twice a few minutes ago, promising moves broke down because he wouldn't use his right foot. And it just astonishes me how a player that is so one-footed can command a transfer fee of, what did we pay for Yarmo? 17, 18 million pounds?
Yeah.
Just so easy to mark out of a game. And for my money, I'd be looking maybe to hook him at half-time. And Snodgrass and Noble would be players I'd pull off as well.
Just a little bit of energy and lacking perhaps there, Pinky, at the moment in the centre of the park for West Ham.
It's not an attitude player. I mean, what problem? With Noble and Snodgrass, they'll give you what they've got. It's just combined age is 66. They've given us so much that I don't think there's an awful lot left. And, they're out there, but I'm not sure they're doing very much, if you get my drift.
Felipe Anderson has just won a corner for West Ham, done very well to pick the pocket of an Everton player. He's tried to play the ball in from the left, interestingly, low across the penalty box. Kenny has blocked it and fallen very awkwardly. I think Felipe Anderson actually went over the top of him, and that's quite a nasty one. And Kenny's down at the moment. I'm not quite sure what's going on. He's still down, but the referee doesn't seem to be allowing anyone to come on and treat him. And Lanzini's looking to take the corner, but Kenny steps up gingerly, gets back on his feet and trots back towards the 6-yard box. It's Lanzini with the corner. We'll just stick with this for a moment. On West Ham's left-hand side as we attack. Lanzini looks to swing one over. It's across deep to where absolutely no West Ham players are positioned. If that one was worked out on the training ground, Gnome, I think they need to go back and start that routine all over again.
Pretty poor corner. A lot of our corners seem to be either too long or too short. Just going back down there to Kenny, I do feel sorry for the guy because he's got to put the block in, block the ball. but he's just turned his ankle as he's gone over, and it's it is that is painful. I think he's down now again. I think they're going to get him some treatment, but.
Did he go over on his own ankle there, do you think?
Yeah, it was there was no foul or anything, there was no contact. He put the block in and just gone over on his own ankle.
Yeah, one leg's gone over the
other. So he's now getting the treatment. That looked like a sprain, it's a sprain all day sort of thing.
No, not at all. Bonzo Beard's called absolutely right on the forum. He said he's killed Kenny. So now we know.
I should point out that Spencer Neal on YouTube chat said the same thing. So perhaps Spencer is Bonzo Beard. You never know. Could be dual posting. There's a slight break anyway. We're 40 minutes into the game. It's Everton 1, West Ham United 0. The only goal of the game so far coming from Calvert-Lewin in the 11th minute. With
pretty unsporting of the referee to not let him have the treatment.
What was that all about? Yeah, I mean, why did he do it at the corner?
It's. I mean, you and I have played, Graham. I'm sure you've done that. I certainly have over the years. And he's not going to be able to continue. Coleman's being lined up to replace him. I mean, it hurts. It's painful. It's not the world's most serious of injuries, but it bloody hurts. And they're making him hobble off as well. So it's one of those things they always say you've got to try and keep walking on it, but there's no way you're going to play that off. That's elevate and compress and ice on it and all that sort of stuff. So first substitution of the evening, and that'll be Seamus Coleman, who's now got a new captain's armband on, so he'll be skippering he'll be taking over Sigurdsson.
We're just seeing a replay of very, very slowed down replay there of Kenny, his ankle basically buckling, and it kind of reminds me a bit of that David Bust incident at Old Trafford, where his ankle
not
just
quite
snapped.
That horrible, but
you see where I'm coming from though. The position of the ankle, it was very, very nasty.
I mean, my ankles have started aching in sympathy when I saw that.
Nasty one. Pinky, what do you make of that then? That's any one of us chaps, I think, without our weight on top of that, could have been in, facing a trip to A&E potentially, couldn't we? There,
I'd have a quiet word with the ref about that at some stage as well, because clearly he needed treatment, and clearly the ref wasn't really prepared to give it, and he made him get up and hobble on for it. Maybe he said, "I'm okay, ref," but clearly he wasn't, and I think he should have had that treatment before the corner, but. Anyway,
it was an odd one. Very, very odd one, wasn't it? Pinky, what did you make of that then?
I mean, it just highlights the hazardous nature of what these guys are doing as professional athletes and sportsmen. I mean, that's the sort of injury that just another fraction, and that's a career ender. Potentially. And every time people go on about players getting paid too much and all the rest of it, well, there's an example. In a split second, that young man, it could all have been over. And, hopefully he's not too badly injured, but the comment there about the similarity with David Boost and what have you, is the sort of thing where it's fractionally worse and it turns into a horrendous situation. But again, for me, on my clock, it's now showing 42 minutes. I mean, there'll be a hell of a lot of stoppage time. But still, only one goal in it. And, I think it was Roy Keane last night in his analysis was basically saying it's the only stat in football that matters is the score.
I think he's been watching us, Pinky, isn't he? Isn't that the one we come out with every week?
Possibly, but I'll try to avoid the Roy Keane role tonight too much. Shocking. They're all shocking. Call himself a fullback. Shocking.
Did Keane not have a row with Klopp the other night? I saw something in passing about that.
Yeah, Klopp said, "Did I hear you call us sloppy?" And Roy Keane went all defensive and said, "Oh, we had sloppy moments." I said you had sloppy moments, but
in fairness,
but it was the usual. I turned off really because it was the usual Liverpool loving.
Yeah,
where nobody pointed out that the first goal was scored by someone who shouldn't have been on the pitch. But
King had given a fairly balanced view, I felt.
Yeah.
But Klopp just heard the bit of it that he wanted to hear, whether that was legitimate or technology failing at the
How dare you
moment.
criticise Liverpool?
Yeah. We're in the final minute of regulation time in the first half. West Ham breaking on the right. Ben Johnson puts a cross, deep cross in, but there's absolutely no one there. It's one of those that Seamus Coleman, the substitute, has taken off his shoulder, but it's fallen to Anderson. Anderson now looking to get back in the box, plays it back to Cresswell. Cresswell back inside to Noble. Noble looks up, plays it low to Snodgrass. Snodgrass is going to lose the ball, I think. No, he's done well to play it back to Noble. Noble out on the left to Cresswell. Cresswell's going to cross this one into the box. It's a great chance for Lanzini, a header, and it's just wide of the far post. Lanzini there with a header. No, that's not something you see every day.
It's something I've just seen now. So, it wasn't that high. He didn't have to jump for it. It was more a case of let's divert this cross towards the goal. Ultimately, it was just watching it now. And by the time it crossed the goal line, it was about 5 yards wide. But it was had Pickford worried for a second there, shall we say?
Only 2 minutes, Pinky, of additional time signalled there by the fourth official. It's a little bit surprising, isn't it? We thought it might be a bit more than that.
Yeah, I mean, maybe the Everton chairman had been complaining about the cost of electricity, of having to keep the lights on for too long tonight. you know, it's not just travel costs. I mean, it's electric and all sorts, and the soap in the showers. Have you any idea how much that costs? But no, I mean, in all seriousness, 2 minutes suits us. I think for me tonight so far, young Ben Johnson's done pretty well, I think, at right back tonight. And when you consider the calibre of opponent that he's facing tonight, he's not disgraced himself. And if we could just hang on here till half time, I'll be very interested to see what real ambition we have in this competition, because I think we've got enough on our bench to make a real difference here now. And, I predicted a defeat at the start. If we show some ambition, make some changes, we could go on and win this,
We've just seen Richarlison try a speculative effort from the left-hand side of the penalty box. I think he was attempting to curl it over Randolph into the far corner, but it's a bit of a dolly and it's just plopped into Randolph's hands. Richarlison showing his disgust at himself, really, by looking to the heavens. But Everton have the ball back 30 yards from goal. We're in the final few seconds of the first half, added on time. 25, and a shot's come in from number 19 for Everton, which is Rodriguez. James Rodriguez, or Jimmy, as he's been called. That will surely be the last action of the first half. It's high and over the bar, no trouble for Darren Randolph there, but it looks like we're going to go into the break. Randolph will take this goal kick, and I'm fairly sure this will be the very final kick of the first half. We'll just stick with this for a second before we look at West Ham's first half. A bit of a review to follow in just a few seconds. Randolph runs up to the ball, kicks it upfield, and the referee, as often happens in these situations, puts the whistle to his lips and blows for half-time. Everton 1, West Ham United 0. The only goal of the half coming from Calvert-Lewin on 11 minutes. Everton did have the ball in the net once again 10 minutes later on the 21st minute when Richarlison put the ball between Randolph's legs. Thought he had made it 2-0. Oh no, the linesman correctly had his flag up for offside. And so it is that West Ham go into the break, Pinky, 1-0 down. Now, I just wanted to ask you about who you felt were the better or more, just really, who sort of shone really. And I don't think there was anyone in West Ham's team who really looked particularly good, but you mentioned young Ben Johnson there as doing an okay job. Anyone else sort of really take your eye in that first half?
For our lot, I think Lanzini's looked reasonably lively.
Yeah.
He's put himself about a little bit. And to be fair to Sebastian Haller, he showed one or two glimpses of either holding the ball up or lovely first touches. There was one he did a lovely bring down with on his thigh. And again, that's the frustration I've got with him. There's a player there, but we need more. For my money there now tonight, we've got a pedestrian, midfield. I mean, let's not beat about the bush. Bobby Snoddy and Nobes, good lads, all that, yeah. But we need some legs in the middle of the park if we're serious about wanting to win this. And you know, for me, why would you take Souček and Ogbonna all the way up to Goodison if you're not going to give them a game? Why would you do that? So, so for my money, I'd like us to make some changes. I'd make 3 changes now at the interval and really signal intent to go out and try and win this game. Because at 1-0, you know, we're still in the competition, no doubt about it.
Yeah, as we saw earlier in the evening, as Gnome pointed out right at the start of this broadcast, Newcastle 1-0 down in the 87th minute, managed to equalise and then put Newport out of the competition via the penalty shootout route. So, yeah, I mean, Pinky's perfectly right. It only takes one opportunity and, you know, it can be completely turned around. Mark English says, Masuaku on for Lanzini. Move Anderson in behind Haller. Das Nutnock says, Johnson's played well today. Clearly our best player. Gnome, would you go along with that? And if not, who's stood out for you?
Johnson's done all right defensively. If I have a slight qualm with how he's played, is that he's often got into very good positions further up the pitch, and his delivery into the box has been a little bit lacking. Nobody's really stood out for me. Anderson's giving it his League Cup go as he has been in recent matches. So, yeah, I mean, I'm with Pinky on this. It's you know, let's see what changes are made either at the interval or hopefully shortly after. But because Everton, I mean, Everton haven't had that much. There's one save that Randolph's made. Yeah, one offside goal. But yeah, everything else, there's been the odd shot that's gone at a rose head, like we had against Charlton, I think, and to a certain degree Hull, where we got into good positions about 30 yards out, and then saw the headlines, and then the headlines turned out to read "ball lost at back of stand" or something like that. But yeah, so shall we have a quick look at the other games this evening while we're on?
Why not? Let's do that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, as you mentioned earlier on, Newcastle earlier beat Newport 5-4 on penalties. As you said, 3 minutes to go, though, 1-0 down. So Newcastle are through. Up at Turf Moor, Burnley with 76 minutes gone, according to my feed here. Burnley are 3-0 down at home to Man City. A brace for Sterling and one for Torres there. Interestingly, James Tarkowski's made his first appearance for Burnley since the 10th of August, which I think was still last season, wasn't it? Yeah. So that toe of his is seems to have healed up nicely. Elsewhere, it's half time down on the south coast where Brighton are losing 1-0 at home to Manchester United, but it being half time, there could be another goal to come before the restart on that one. We'll let you know if anything happens. And obviously 1-0 to Everton here. So just the 4 ties tonight. And there you're up to date.
Good stuff. Thank you. Pinky, we'll have a look at the KUMB Forum match thread in just a moment, just to see what everyone else is making of the first half. Some half-time statistics for you all before we do that. Possession, what about this? 50% each. Actually, it's 49.7% if we want to be precise to Everton, and 50.3 to West Ham. Rounding it up, it's obviously 50 each. Shots for each team. Everton 7 shots, West Ham 2. Everton 2 on target, West Ham 1. Everton with 1 clear cut chance to West Ham's none. No crosses at all. Everton not a single cross put in tonight. West Ham, on the other hand, have attempted 14 and have only succeeded with 2. So that gives you some kind of indication of the way in which the two teams are playing quite differently tactically. Tonight, Everton looking to profit, through the centre. West Ham looking to get the ball out wide to Yarmolenko and Anderson, and failing pretty miserably so far. Successful dribbles. Everton have completed 5 out of 11. West Ham 1 out of only 4. Corners, West Ham 3 to Everton's 2, and 1 offside each so far. Tackles 1. Everton, this is quite interesting. Very, very low figures, these really. Everton have won 50% of their tackles so far. West Ham only 38%. Everton have intercepted the ball 5 times, West Ham 3 times. West Ham have made 2 blocks to Everton's 0. Headed clearances 4 by Everton and only 1 from West Ham. Again, you know, a kind of indication of the type of football each team is playing, with West Ham looking to hurl lots of aerial balls in. Everton playing it on the deck mainly. Aerial duels 1. Everton have won 53% of theirs to 47. West Ham's 47. And a couple more stats. Everton have committed 4 fouls to West Ham's 3. Everton won 2 fouls to West Ham's 4. So pretty even stuff tactically, statistically, sorry. But, you know, very, very clear evidence there of the 2 different ways in which the teams are playing. And Everton, so far, profiting. But, you know, as Pinky's rightly pointed out, that's probably more to do with the fact that Everton have a pretty strong team out there tonight. And West Ham have a lot of firepower on the bench. Now, Pinky mentioned earlier that, you know, why would you bring all those players up to Goodison Park if you're not going to use them? So let us know what you think. You know, we've got some good players there on the bench. So let us know via YouTube chat and also the KUMB.com forum match thread who you think David Moyes via Stuart Pearce via Alan Irvine should bring on soon. Pinky, the KUMB forum match thread. What's the views? What are people thinking there at halftime?
The cognoscenti on the forum are almost collectively saying, let's get Noble off the pitch. You know, there's not a lot of love for the club captain on tonight's showing.
Yeah.
And which is kind of sad, but people are passing comment on what they're looking at, and they're looking at a player tonight who is just not involved enough in the game. So, you know, undoubtedly we've got better options on the bench, and everyone is saying make some changes now. Bristol Hamel, of course, has entered into the fray, and with a comment just showing how thin our squad is, and I think that's fair comment, because where we are, you've got a manager who probably wants to rest players for a full game, but actually he's not in a position to do so. And so I think we will see some of those changes. But just picking up 1 or 2 of the comments here, you know, McNightmare saying we look more of a threat for the last 20 minutes. They're far from watertight at the back, and I think that's a fair comment. Chinner's 92, we're just not competing in the middle. Souček and Ogbonna are on for me, saying for any of the 5 midfielders. And Italian Hammer need Ogbonna and Souček on. Souček for Snodders, and tell Haller he's allowed to join in from Matty D. And profit marginal, you know, saying Everton are a decent side, but if we go out, which looks likely, it'll be due to the individual mistakes we're repeatedly making. It just lets them get the ball back too quickly. I would stress amongst all this, you know, the Everton goal, it was a ball over the top, you know, and they've caught out Declan Rice, who was a little bit AWOL, I think it's fair to say. So yes, they've been smart to target a player that is playing out of his current natural position, but it still took a great touch from Calvert-Lewin and a good finish. So for all the, you know, I wouldn't call it dominance, but clearly the upper hand that, in my view, Everton have had, is still only 1-0. And, you know, the 2 managers speaking to their teams at half time, I would imagine Ancelotti is a bit more frantic than Alan Irvine, that's for sure, because we've got more firepower on our bench to come than Everton have got on theirs, I think, tonight. And I think Ancelotti's plan would have been send out the big guns up top, get two goals in front, and maybe substitute a couple of those lads in the sort of 70th minute. Instead, he's facing the situation where he's got to keep James Rodriguez on the pitch and Richarlison all the way to the end, I think. So we're 1-0 down, but dare I say it, advantage West Ham.
Good stuff, like that. Just touching on that, the players Everton do have on the bench. Obviously, the goalkeeper, Lossell, and we've seen Coleman come on as a replacement for Kenny, who is killed, as was pointed out towards the end of the first half. Actually killed himself, didn't he? Just tripped over his own ankle, and you know, it was a pretty nasty one that could have been considerably more serious than we hope for his sake that it is. Mina, Decore, Iwobi, potential strike forward option for Everton, 35 million they paid Arsenal for his services not so long back. Bernard and Davis also on the bench for Everton. So they've got a fairly strong squad out there, but looking at West Ham's, just going back to that, we've got Ogbonna Masuaku, who's looked pretty influential in the last couple of games on the left flank for West Ham. Ashby, the young right back who was mauled in the last Carling Cup Carabao Cup game by Hull City last week, forced off. Souček, Bowen and Fornals, some first team players with lots of experience looking for an opportunity to shine perhaps in the second half. A quick look at the YouTube chat to see what's being said at halftime. Gavin McGrath says, anyone notice Richarlison's effort at both ends of the field? We've got a couple of players who should be taking note. We did actually notice that, Gavin. I think it was Pinky who pointed out how hard he'd been working at both ends. But yeah, well spotted. And then maybe it'll work in our favour with, maybe he'll tire as the game progresses. So we shall see. Das Nutnock says it's hard to shake the feeling this has been treated as a run out with no real ambition to win. I guess we'll see how true that is as the second half wears on. Whether West Ham look to bring on some more influential players and perhaps go out and take the game by the scruff of the neck. Chris Mulhall says maybe Sullivan has seen the draw for the next round, and as we're drawn away again, he's bricking it. Well, you never know. You never know. Of course, it still hasn't been confirmed exactly how West Ham got to the game tonight. I'm not sure if we did fly. We're all presuming they did, but they could have been sent up on the back of a cart horse for all we know.
One of those trolley things on the trains.
Yeah, that's it. Like the old black and white movies, yeah. Hammer Ted says, some of the players trying to push for a place in the first 11 haven't done enough to earn a place on the coach home. So, not so good. And Gavin McGrath says, isn't this Pellegrini's first team? Interesting comment, Gnome.
Yeah, there's a lot of Pellegrini in that side, I suppose. But I think they're playing better than they were. This time last year, Pellegrini was still there, and they're playing as a unit better than they were 12 months ago. That's for sure. Just something that's come up on the YouTube feed, and it's not that the person's had anything particularly insightful to say, but I've lost it now. Top marks though for best daft screen name of the week must go to the chap calling himself West Ham half Dalek half crocodile. As to say, he's only come on to ask what the score was, but
I think the Dalek man is one of our regulars now, and we see him quite
I'd noticed it before. I've only just my ancient computer equipment barely copes with the stream, let alone that and the YouTube thing as well. So because my input on this is going through my phone, which is infinitely quicker than my laptop is. So
shall we do a quick roundup, Gnome, of the rest of the games and what happened earlier? Once again.
Well, the games this evening was, as mentioned, Newcastle went through 5-4 on penalties after drawing 1-1 with Newport County. Late equaliser for Newcastle there, so they'll be counting their blessings a little bit there. We're into the 90th minute at Turf Moor. It's Burnley 0, Manchester City 3 still. Still half-time at Brighton versus Man United. Referee hasn't added yet another goal during the interval, so it's Brighton 0, Man United 1, and of course 1-0 at Goodison Park to Everton.
We're just seeing the players emerge from the tunnel ahead of the start of the second half, and as they're doing it, I'm seeing another spider crawl up the wall, slightly bigger than the last one, so let's hope it's a bit luckier. Might have to find that other one and throw it out. West Ham, interestingly, just as Everton are taken to the field, going through a few fitness routines down by the touchline to the left as we're looking at the screen. I'm just looking through the players to see if there's any new faces out there. It doesn't look like it. It looks like West Ham are going to go with the same 11, Pinky, for the beginning of the second half at least anyway. I mean, how long do we think Alan Irvine or Moisey is going to give it before making a change if it stays this way?
Well, hopefully not too long. I mean, the concern, obviously, with the way the modern game is, and particularly the threadbare nature of our squad in certain areas, you've got a manager possibly locked into the mentality of, I can't afford to risk injuries to certain players, because with the transfer window slamming shut on Monday, certainly as far as buying top flight players goes. Can you imagine if we put Souček on for 20 minutes here or 30 minutes here and he got an injury? Same goes with Ogbonna or what have you. So he might be thinking, in the absence of any reinforcements, the chairman has spent his last 50 grand flying the players to Goodison, but he hasn't got any more money left to buy any players for the manager. The manager might be forced into a situation where says, you know what, I'll take an honourable defeat here tonight just to keep the players in reserve for the Saturday games. And
we're just seeing West Ham attack. Sorry to cut in there. Johnson's put a cross in from the right-hand side. It's come out on the left to Felipe Anderson. Anderson looks up, plays it back to Robbie Snodgrass. Snodgrass has struck, and it's in the back of the net. 1-1, West Ham. No, what a start to the second half for West Ham.
Yes. I'm a second or two behind you, but what a great start.
30 seconds.
It was Anderson pulled it back, and it was a lazy, languid, curling effort that just curled beautifully past everybody into the net. I'm just watching the replay of it now, and it's just, I'll just put that over there, like you're passing the ball into the net for fun.
Pickford well and truly beaten on his left-hand side there. 30 seconds, Pinky, 30 seconds, and we're level. What a start.
And as I pointed out, the cognoscenti of the KUMB Forum all wanted Snoddy pulled at half-time. They all wanted Noble pulled at half-time, who'd done nothing. He played his part in that move as well. I've just been looking at text messages from various friends, and one of which, superb time. I just read it, said, Anderson's done nothing, turns back all the time, and contributed nothing so far. So to all of those, and include myself, that was slating some of those players, well, that's mud in the eye, isn't it? Because it's told by West Ham, and it just goes to show, if you stay in the competition, if you just hang on in there, you can get something. So for me now, Stuart Pearce, he's on the phone to David Moyes. What's Moyes saying? Go on and win it. What's the instructions? I'd be mightily interested to see the next sort of 10, 15.
47 minutes gone now, 2 minutes into the second half. What an incredible start to the second period for West Ham. 30, I think it was about 31 seconds, Gnome, when the ball hit the back of the net. Jordan,
something like that, yeah.
Very, almost from the, straight from the kickoff almost. Jordan Pickford left clutching at thin air. No chances.
Yeah, it curled away from him. It was, as I say, it was lovely left foot curling effort from the edge of the box. One of those that almost might have been a few yards further out. You might have said what a decent cross in that was, but it curled away from Pickford, but still managed to go with it in the net. As Snodgrass has just been pulled up for a sly little tug there on Allen, and has just done the standard innocent look. What me, ref? But it was a sly little tug, and the referee wasn't going to fall for that. Don't think there's not been a card for it yet, but as we play the ball out from the back now.
48 minutes gone. Everton 1, West Ham United 1. We're just seeing James Rodriguez play the ball out to Richarlison. This is dangerous. He's played the ball. It's hit the post. Oh, so close for Everton. There, Richarlison looking to put the Toffees back in front. He received the ball, very acute angle on the left-hand side of Darren Randolph's goal. He's put the ball low, and it's rebounded right off the bottom of the post. Randolph's definitely beaten there, Gnome, but a bit of a warning sign for the Hammers.
Maybe say Randolph's beaten there. It was the outside of the post rather than the sort of face of the goal, if you like. Had it been,
he had that covered.
He might have done, yeah. But still a good effort, and need to be just a little bit savvy here for the few minutes. I mean, the old cliche about, never more dangerous than just after you've scored. As Noble's just been pulled up for a foul on Richarlison, who's certainly, I think Richarlison's definitely been the pick of the opposition so far.
Yeah, no question. I mean, I think Pinky, you pointed out Richarlison as one of the danger men to, or just seeing Everton break again. The ball's played right to Rodriguez outside of the left foot, plays it back into the box. It's cleared out by Balbuena, and he's played it to Snodgrass, who's just given the ball straight back to Everton. Very, very dangerous. The ball hooked back in, cleared out, but it's come again to Rodriguez on the edge of the box. But West Ham just managing to smother the former Real Madrid man and put the ball out of the danger zone. But Everton regaining possession again. Just seeing Felipe Anderson almost win the ball in a very, very dangerous position there, but just failing to. Pinky, I was just going to come to you and say about Richarlison there, no mentioning that he's looked the most dangerous player so far. Sorry, I'll just come to you in a second, because Richarlison has the ball again, plays it low from the left-hand side across the box. It's cleared out. It's put back into the box. Headed clear this time by Declan Rice. Felipe Anderson picks it up on the edge of the box, plays it back to Aaron Cresswell inside our own box. Aaron Cresswell plays it low back to Anderson, and West Ham just really trying to get a foot of the ball. And Anderson's conceded possession. Really dangerous position. Calvert-Lewin has time to line up the shot. He looks up, shoots, and strikes it over the bar. West Ham kind of almost architects of their own demise there. But Pinky, we were just going to talk about Richarlison there, looking very strong.
Yeah, I mean, thus far this evening, we've seen the tale of two Brazilians here. One who's working his socks off and showing, a good productive performance for his team, and the other one who isn't working quite hard enough and isn't making the same impact. And of course, Richarlison's doing it for Everton. Anderson isn't quite doing it for us. And you say of the two, one is very much more on fire at the minute than the other. And what did Everton pay for Richarlison? I don't think it's anything like what we paid for Anderson, is it? So
was it not more? Wasn't it not more?
Value
50 million or something?
Sorry.
We'll look into that one. I thought it was a considerable sum, but
I thought, I remember thinking at the time it seemed rather a lot of money, and it was when what's the name of the guy? It's Marco Silva had just come from Watford, and it seemed. I remember thinking at the time it seemed rather a lot, but
regardless, anyway, whatever he cost, he's been a constant thorn in the side, Pinky, as you pointed out for West Ham tonight.
Very, very, very much so. But again, it's one each. We're in the game, and if I was Carlo Ancelotti, I might be getting a bit nervous at this point in time, because he's chucked everything at it from the first minute, and he desperately wants to haul off at least one, if not two, of those front three to give them a rest ahead of the weekend, and he can't do it at the minute. And our sort of dad's army team that we've got in one or two parts of the pitch are doing just enough to make it difficult for Everton.
53 minutes gone. No.
Yeah, I'm not quite as optimistic at the moment as Pinky. Since we scored the goal, we've hardly laid a glove on Everton, and they're coming at us, and we're breaking up attacks, but we really aren't holding on to the ball when we break up the attacks, and we're just inviting more pressure onto ourselves. By not holding the ball up. You see, we played it out again. We've given it away again. It just invites pressure on. Having said that, that's an interesting looking ball.
Yeah, close.
And another bit of yard on that, and we might have caught them on the break. But
Mark Noble winning possession on the edge of the box, trying to play Felipe Anderson in behind the Everton defence, and as Gnome points out, they're just a yard too short, that pass. Otherwise our Brazilian would have been in through on goal there.
Yeah. I'm a little concerned at how we're not keeping hold of the ball when we do win it back. They're coming at us in waves at the moment. And from the score being the main principal thing to be concerned over, and it's 1-1. As I say, I was a second or so behind you, but
we've just seen it's really dangerous for West Ham. Great chance for Everton. Richarlison, it's him again on the left-hand side. Plays the ball back. I'm not sure who had the shot. I think it was possibly Rodriguez. But Darren Randolph, was it
Sigurdsson, I think, number 10.
Sigurdsson, yeah, and Randolph's had to go low to his right and save with his foot. It's a good save by our goalkeeper, who, to his credit, is always very good with those sort of saves. We're just seeing West Ham look to counter. Yarmolenko down the right plays it across. It's a poor delivery yet again from Yarmolenko. Chance squandered by West Ham, but yeah, I mean, credit to Randolph there, Pinky. Doing well, you know. But that's one of his fortes, isn't it? You know, he's very good a shot stopper, perhaps, as we've pointed out before, not so good in the air occasionally.
Yeah, and for my money, he's a decent enough second string keeper, and you know, the contrast with who we had as the second string keeper last year couldn't be greater if the truth be known. But again, you know, on my screen now, we're just building down the left. You've probably already commented on this, but you know, picking up a Gnome's point about us not hanging onto the ball and it's coming back at us. That to a certain extent, that's a function.
We're just seeing Richarlison cut inside from the left. He's looked for an opportunity, strikes on 25 yards. It's taken a deflection and it's in the back of the net. Everton restore their advantage. It's 2-1 Everton. And we've just forlorn looking Darren Randolph sitting on the floor. Nothing he could do. Richarlison cutting from he is the danger man. It's hit the back of Declan Rice, who's turned away criminally, perhaps, from the ball. And Randolph, no chance. He's going one way. The ball's gone the other. Gnome, it's Everton 2, West Ham United 1.
Yes, sorry, Pinky, that you interrupted you, but that was coming. Precisely what I'm saying. We keep giving the ball away. They're going to keep coming at us, and yeah, something like that only takes a deflection. I'm afraid that was on the cards purely because we weren't hanging on to the ball enough.
What do we think about Declan Rice perhaps turning his back there, Gnome, on the shot? You know, I mean, I know it's as a player, if something's thrown at you at pace, it's, you know, it's sort of human nature to do that. But you know, is he not going to get sort of slightly told off for doing that tomorrow morning at Rush Green?
Probably,
yeah.
Probably. Although if the draw means we would have been away, he might get a £5 bonus from David Sullivan for the savings.
Pinky, my apologies for cutting you off in your prime there, my friend. What do you make of that goal there? Declan Rice is sort of involved again, I suppose, to some degree.
Yeah, I mean, the reality is we've let him travel a long way with the ball at his feet and get the shot off. And you know, I'm never a fan of defenders turning their back on shots. You know, it's not a good look for the defender, and so I'm sure Rice will have it pointed out to him that he couldn't get any uglier. So what was he worried about? But you know, for my money, a bit of a squandered opportunity there now, because at 1-1 we're absolutely in it. Now what we've got to do to go on and win the game is get 2 goals. And I'm afraid I'd have made some subs already. I really would have done. And I don't want to dig out the manager for he leaves it too late, It's the paucity of options in the squad that he can trust on Saturdays, meaning he's resting players midweek games because he doesn't want to get any injuries for the Saturdays, because the second string he just can't count on, you know, for a variety of reasons. Yeah. So whilst Moyes will get some grief for this tonight, I'm sure, about not making subs, he doesn't really have that many options. You know, Gnome touched on it earlier. Leicester City to come at the weekend. Jamie Vardy. Yeah, he must be looking at this tonight thinking, bloody hell, I'd really like to be playing this lot this coming weekend. You know, so for me, disappointing to go a goal behind, but you know, if you shoot, you've got a chance. Yeah, maybe that was a reaction from Richarlison. You know, there's no Sam Allardyce at Everton anymore, and I just wondered if they had it drummed into them up there. You know, you shoot from outside the box, you've got a 4% chance of scoring.
Richarlison has just hobbled off the pitch, went down in an attempt to make a challenge. But it looks like, sadly for West Ham, perhaps Gnome is going to be coming back on. He's just jogging up and down the touchline, trying to, you know, put some weight on the touch. But I mean, he has been absolutely outstanding for Everton tonight, hasn't he, so far?
It's similar thing to the Kenny injury, in that he injured himself in trying to running back and trying to get a tackle in, which went down, landed awkward, not landed awkwardly, but slid in and seemed to get himself twisted a little bit. It looks like he's okay. I don't know if he may be back on even. No, he's just jogging up and down.
Yeah, he's just come back on. I think just re-entered the throw.
Again, no. He's just back on now. Yeah, no foul or anything like that. Just sort of self-inflicted. Yeah. Everton seem to be intent on putting themselves out of the game rather than anything we're doing. But yeah, we're going to have to, if we want to get this to into the next round, we're going to have to take this to Everton a lot more now.
We are 2/3 of the way through the match now.
We may have seen the last of Richarlison. Actually, he's now gone. He came back on, but he's now gone down again. He's sitting down, and Iwobi's taking his rather fetching salmon pink training top off. Here's a bugbear. I think Pinky might agree with me, but substitutes. When did substitutes start not having their kit on, ready to come on? I mean, yeah, okay, a tracksuit top and all that, but if you're a sub, when they say right on you go, you should just take your tracksuit top off and be ready to go. Now they've got to take the tops off. They've got to put on the shirt that they're going to wear during the game, and somebody's got to find them the shin pads, and they should be ready to come on. That's just annoying.
Pinky, what do you think on that? The burning issue of the night so far.
It's a fair point because. But I sometimes wonder whether it's a deliberate tactic by managers sometimes to slow the game down, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But for my money, I'd almost go treble 20 on it. You put the board up once the ref's blown the whistle. You've got 30 seconds to get your man on the field. That's it. And be
timed
ready.
Out like in cricket.
Yeah.
We 61 minutes gone. Everton 2. West Ham United 1. West Ham equalising within 30 seconds of the restart. But as Gnome was only at pains to point out too often, we didn't really sort of try and get a foot on the ball for the next 10 minutes. And the inevitable happened on 56 minutes when Richarlison cut inside and following a wicked deflection off the back of Declan Rice, who we felt might be a little bit culpable of, not standing square on and facing the ball as he perhaps should. The ball diverting, taking a wicked deflection and going into the back of the net with Darren Randolph stranded. So Everton lead just under half an hour to go. No substitutes yet from West Ham. Everton have made 2 now with Richarlison, the real danger man, who's looked absolutely fantastic for an hour off the pitch now. We're just seeing West Ham look to build again on the left-hand side. Cresswell and Lanzini playing a little 1-2. Cresswell inside to Felipe Anderson, a bit more central than usual. He finds Robert Snodgrass, who finds Noble, who switches it out on the right to young Ben Johnson. Ben Johnson immediately closed down by 2 opponents, but he keeps the ball and looks to run down at the right-hand side and wins a throw-in almost in line with Everton's 18-yard box. We do need something from West Ham, whether it's a goal, whether it's a substitution. Let's have a quick look and see what the supporters are saying. Pinky will go to the KUMB match thread very shortly while we're waiting for this throne to be taken. A quick look at the YouTube chat. Mark English says, well, if you lose, we'll have another 50k in the transfer kitty. Fair enough. And Das Nutrock feels that Rice was perhaps culpable for that second goal, saying he should have done better than that. Also saying that Anderson has been pony tonight, apart from, well, let's not forget he did provide an assist, of course, for our goal. So he's provided something, I guess. Chris Mulhall says Yarmo has gone missing now. I don't think I've seen him touch the ball in the last 10, 15 minutes, actually. So good observation, Chris. We're just seeing the ball hoiked in from the left, volleyed in from the left by Ben Johnson, and it's cleared immediately out. But West Ham have possession again. Declan Rice bursts towards goal, 30 yards out, plays it out left to Anderson. Anderson down the line to Cresswell, who's overlapping, but he turns back and looks back to find Anderson once again. Anderson looking inside. What options has he got? He's found Mark Noble. Noble in that place where he spends so much time in the centre of the pitch, plays it out wide to Johnson. Johnson crosses towards the far post, looking for Anderson, gets the foot and it tries to bring it down. Can't bring it down very well, but keeps possession. It's played back to it's played back to Snodgrass, who swings a ball to the far post. There's Yarmolenko. There's our missing man. Pulls it back across goal. It's half chance Gnome there for Lanzini on the left-hand side, but he scores it wide.
Couldn't quite get his left leg round it. The cross from Snodgrass was, as I said, it was very similar to his goal. It's just that sort of curled in at the far post, except being far out. It was that sort of languid just get the foot, curl the foot around it. Yarmolenko's header, yeah, I mean, little bit too wide, a little bit too far. Lanzini needs to grow another 5 or 6 inches.
Again,
Yeah.
too short earlier on, and his legs are too short.
Yeah, I blame Lanzini for not being tall.
Yeah, Pinky, 25 minutes to go. Still no subs from West Ham. What's happening on the forum, buddy?
Yeah, I mean, unanimous really. You know, we need some legs in the middle, says Centenary Upper Hammer. You know, Hugh Jargon is saying Anderson and Yarmo frustrating tonight, lazy touches, and rather cruelly suggests that the captain should drop down a division. Anderson in the main though is getting pelters at the moment. He really is, and you know, whether it's Mr. Sobriquet or Bonzo Beard, you know, Anderson poor again. He has to go, and I'm not so sure that's where the problem is in the side tonight. Albeit, you know, he's been exposed by Richarlison's performance, who was looking double mustard, and that's kind of making Anderson look even worse. But for my money tonight, it's the legs right in the middle of the park that need refreshing. And if we're serious about wanting to stay in this competition, we need to make a change in the next minute or two, because we need 2 goals. You know, what points to draw? What, go to penalties? Take the chances there? I'm not so sure I want to do that. I think this is a fine Everton side in the front part of their team, but they can be got at the back, and I think we need to be a bit more positive in what we're doing.
West Ham looking to build again on the left-hand side. 66 minutes gone, Everton 2, West Ham United 1. The ball played forward towards Sebastian Haller, who's another one who's been absolutely anonymous in the second half, has barely touched the ball, but it's easily cleared out, and Haller just looks on and gives one of those looks back towards his teammates as if to say, why didn't you play it right on my toe? Need to see a bit more from our French striker, as Pinky's been at pains also to point out in recent weeks. West Ham had possession again, though. He's played it on the left to Ben Johnson, just inside Everton's half. He plays it back to Mark Noble, who's loitering around the centre circle, as he so often does. Noble with his hands up, apologising for not making a pass out wide to left. Plays it to Rice, who's making a very strong run forward, looking for support on the left-hand side. There's absolutely no one there. So Rice continues with it to the byline, gets a cross in towards the near post, but it's easily plucked out of the air by Pickford. No, where was Rice's support there?
Lord knows. My stream's buffering a little bit as well, so I'm just going to try and reload it. So I'm probably not the best person to sort of ask what's going on at the moment. Okay,
well, we're just seeing Iwobi break down the left and try and get a shot away, but it's blocked.
What time have you got there, Graham?
Around him. Sorry?
What time have you got there, mate?
I'm 67.10.
Okay. Okay. I seem to be a bit ahead of you now. I'm 67.28. So
there you go.
Yeah. As well, in which case, Anderson's just tried to play a ball inside the fullback, and it's just gone out for a goal kick. As another Everton player's down, thumping the turf. I've no idea what the what caused that.
Yes, bit of buffering going on all round, I think there.
Yeah, I think
stream wise.
Let's have a look now. I think that's
it's Alan, I think, isn't it? I think Alan's attempt to, it's when he went to try to tackle Rice on the Rice's little foray down the left flank of which we spoke a few moments ago, and sort of hacked at Rice's leg, didn't he there? And he's in a bit of trouble there, I think, Pinky.
He's going off anyway. He's Decore's coming on by the looks of things, but Alan's not happy. He's thumping that turf. Let's just show it again. Yeah, he's holding his groin.
He's
trying to get a foot in there, and it's definitely. As I say, the third final Everton substitution, all 3 have been due to sort of completely accidental injuries.
Very unusual. But I guess this comes back to the fact that had this been West Ham, Pinky, and David Moyes, had we perhaps started our best players and we could have lost 2 or 3 players and gone out, he would be getting pelters, wouldn't he, Moyes, by now?
Well, and this is the difficulty the manager faces, because Ancelotti here tonight, he's lost Kenny, he's clearly losing Alan, and he's lost Richarlison. three absolute first team starters for Everton every week. If you can imagine us losing, say, Souček, Rice and Ogbonna from our starting lineup against Leicester on Saturday. You know, I mean, the bookmakers would be paying out now if that was the case. You know, Paddy Power would just say, you know, we're paying out already. So that's the dilemma that David Moyes faces. So I don't think his lack of subs tonight is anything to do with game management this evening. It's nothing to do with this competition at all. It's all about making sure he's got 11 reasonably fit players to select on Saturday afternoon. And that's sad. You know, West Ham United Football Club, it's a cup competition, and we've backed the manager so poorly in the transfer window that he's having to make those choices. And, you know, all well and good the chairman whinging about the 50 grand cost of travel up there. In normal times, supporters would have travelled up there at their own expense and seen this tonight in a game that, in my opinion, we could have won. We could have won. We haven't lost it yet, but the manager just doesn't have the options because he doesn't have the depth in the squad.
We're inside the final 20 minutes of normal time now. It's still Everton 2, West Ham United 1. Alan still hasn't quite left the ground. He's still kind of clutching his groin there, I think, Gnome, and almost disbelief.
We've just given the ball away, and Iwobi's just bursting through the middle, plays it out wide. Just try to see who that is on the ball. Ball played across, but it's well.
That's useful.
It was Coleman. Coleman did his best to try and make something of it, but that was the sort of ball we've been playing. Loose ball played across behind everyone, went out for a West Ham throw in, but Everton have won it back on the right. Coleman's on the ball. Rodriguez plays it inside, but it's intercepted. Now, what can we do here? Haller plays it square. Ball's played out wide left to Anderson. Anderson's bearing in on the box. Cuts inside. And he just beats himself. What a waste. Ball still out with Yarmolenko. Plays it inside the box to Haller. Haller's sort of out wide right on the right-hand side of the penalty area. Plays it back to Noble. Switches it out left to Cresswell. Cresswell plays a curling cross in. Picked off by the Everton defence. And Rodriguez, under no pressure whatsoever, plays, and they're playing it out from the back. And it's now with Calvert-Lewin out on the right wing, who's, well, he's trying to take on Rice, but comes off second best. We've won it back in midfield. Noble's looking forward now, looking for options. Not many there. Ball's now out wide with Cresswell again. Everton are actually sort of keeping their lines very well. It's making it very difficult for us to actually play between them. Anderson and Cresswell trying to keep it alive on the left. Lanzini now switches play out to the right to Noble, who finds Johnson out on the wing. Johnson's got a bit of space to play with, but Iwobi closes him down. Johnson has to return the ball back to Noble. Snodgrass plays a curling cross in out to the left towards Cresswell, never getting there. Anderson's trying to shield the ball, but has his pocket picked. But well, we've had a lot of possession there, and it's all come to naught because nobody's had options. And as Pinky said, it all depends on, are you going to go for this competition? Bring on somebody, try something different. If not, if you're more worried about Saturday, then which is what it appears to be at the moment, then this is where we are.
There are 70. We're in the 74th minute now. Everton still leading 2-1. West Ham, as Gnome pointed out, they're beginning to get a little bit back into the game as Everton sort of sit a little bit deeper, having made all 3 substitutions. Still no substitutions, Pinky, for West Ham. Just over 16 minutes to go. Are we going to see any at any point?
Possibly not, because I keep coming back to it. To win this game in normal time, we need 2 goals, and we appear to almost have settled for honourable defeat, which is a real shame. It's a real shame, and because of course it begs the question: if you go out of this competition, how do you keep the second string fit between now and the 3rd round of the FA Cup? because if they're not good enough to force the way into the first team, there's no real reserve.
Sorry to interrupt,
No.
Pinky. Ball played in from the right-hand side. Haller controls the ball on his chest and then tries an overhead kick, which Pickford pushes over the bar. Something out of nothing there. The overhead kick, or the sort of scissors kick, whatever you want to call it, was into the ground slightly, which gave Pickford the chance to turn it over. But best chance of the second half since for the equaliser for West Ham. Corner comes across. Again, it's deep. Played out to Lanzini, whose shot is blocked and goes out for another corner on the other side. Do you want to stay with me for the corner?
Go for it. Yeah, stay there. Stay there.
I think I'm now in pole position on
Looks that way.
on the streaming Grand Prix. But Snodgrass is waiting to take the corner. Corner comes across. It's played sort of near post. Ball out to. Let's see. Played out wide to Noble's out on the left now. Plays it back in centre. Anderson's centre. Everton are very compact in the way they're set up on the defence. Noble plays the ball to, looks like Rice, who's lost it, and now Everton have got the break on.
76 minutes gone. Everton 2, West Ham United 1. West Ham desperately need a goal to. Of course, there is no extra time tonight. If it's level, if West Ham can muster another goal and equaliser, it will go straight to penalties. But at the moment, it looks like West Ham are heading out of the Carabao Cup at the 4th round. No substitutions made yet by Alan Irvine, standing in, deputising for David Moyes, who is, of course, on the blower via Stuart Pearce, who, as we mentioned the other day, is the conduit between the two, it seems. West Ham a little bit sort of wasteful. Perhaps they're picked, a good 2 or 3 minutes of possession, but nothing really comes from their shot.
Always possible.
Everton just forced the corner, by the way.
Yeah, well, possible Stuart Pearce isn't on the blower to David Moyes. It's possible that he was on club call and he was trying to find out the travel arrangements for the next away game.
No, takes through the
players report to Lacey's coaches and hop on the bus, please.
Well, the Everton corner's taken short and it's come back out wide on the left. Iwobi's got a bit of space in the box. It's 3. Iwobi had far too much space in the box, curled the shot, it came back off the post, and Calvert-Lewin was there to put the ball away. Infinitely easier finish than his first one.
And almost identical to Jared Bowen's goal the other day.
Jared Bowen,
off the post.
Yeah. We gave Iwobi far too much space in the box, and ball comes back out. And as I say, it's
game over.
You could have scored that, Graham.
Well, I'm not sure about that. I think it was.
No, neither am I. But
still had to be put away. Pinky, West Ham had the chance to make subs. You've been calling it since half time, saying we should have done it before they scored their second goal. Didn't do it then. Didn't react then. Richarlison went off. Didn't react then. And we're 3-1 down. And surely that's it now. Game over.
Yeah, because. Ancelotti now, even he can't make any more changes. But what he can do is say to the 11 players that he's got out there, right, lads, we'll have some solid banks. They haven't got enough to break us down. They're not getting 1. They're certainly not getting 2. We've done the job. And I keep saying it. It's the lack of depth in the squad has given the manager no choices tonight, because Ancelotti's now got the problem for Saturday. He's into the next round of the cup, and that's fine. And given the money that Everton have spent in recent years, he may feel winning a trophy of any kind and qualifying for Europe any way they can is worth it. And this cup competition is a good way, to solve both of those issues. But he's going to be looking at the weekend, in all probability, with 3 first-team picks out. David Moyes doesn't have the luxury of risking having 3 first-team picks out for Saturday, and that's where we are. And if David Sullivan's watching this tonight, maybe he's tuning in onto the KUMB TV. Mr. Chairman, you need to get your checkbook out. You really do.
Yeah, we're just about to enter the final 10 minutes. Everton pretty much got this one in the bag now, leading 3-1, which kind of reminds me of that final game of the 1985-86 season when we of course went to Goodison Park, needing to get a result to finish second in Division 1 as it was then, and went down by the same scoreline. But this game obviously not quite as important. But no, look, we'd have a cup run at West Ham. It's disappointing, isn't it, to to go out sort of the way we appear to be going out tonight.
Yeah, as Pinky says, it's. But I mean, okay, a lot of this is a function of how they've compressed the League Cup into the early part of the season, but it's kind of depressing that we're having to sort of think about saving players for our league position in October. At the end of September. Okay, as I say, the compressed season has a lot to do with that. But as Everton are bearing down on the left again, Iwobi puts the ball across. We've got to stop cut these crosses out. Iwobi's been given far too much time out on their left, our right. Nothing came of that. But at this point we've got 10 minutes to go. I can't see us picking up another couple. So the pragmatic part of me says, keep the players on the bench. We may have a bit of a break on. Anderson's now beaten his man. He's gone down the left. Coleman gets back at him, and he has to play the ball back. Cresswell plays inside to Snodgrass, who clips it out. Well, attempts to clip it out wide to Johnson, but Iwobi doesn't get anywhere near it. Iwobi blocks it, but we've won it back. But yeah, it's all a bit sort of going out, not so much with a bang as with a whimper, really.
82 minutes gone. Everton 3, West Ham United 1. Barring something of a miracle, West Ham are heading out of the Carabao Cup at the fourth round stage. Interestingly, perhaps, though it's not really much consolation, the next round of the Carabao Cup doesn't take part until 3 days before Christmas. I guess what, Pinky was kind of bemoaning the fact that, we wouldn't be able to give the reserve team players a run out, but it wouldn't have been able to anyway, really, given the very strange way that this competition's been laid out this season. It's unprecedented, that, Pinky, isn't it, to have the first 4 rounds inside the first month of the season. Of course, it isn't a normal season as we know it, but still very strangely done this year.
Yeah, and I think we've probably ended up with this competition being structured in this way. Probably either we do it this way or the competition's getting cancelled because there's just not enough money in it for the clubs, from the sponsors. The disappointment for me here tonight now, is Everton are looking at this. What are they now? 3 games away from Europe, 3 wins away from Europe. If you're Carlo Ancelotti, you can say, do you know what? 3 wins, I can bank European football next season.
Mm-hmm.
David Moyes is going to look at this and go, I've now got to get to Europe the hard way. I've got to win week in, week out against full strength teams every Saturday. So I know which is the easier route to Europe.
Well, let me stop you there, Pinky, because it's got even worse. Calvert-Lewin has picked up his hat-trick just as my feed goes down. Rodriguez, some good work on the box, at the edge of the box, just played him through. There was a gap a mile wide that Lewin had, and it was Rodriguez, Sigurdsson, Calvert-Lewin in on the box, tucked it under Randolph. If it wasn't game over before, which it was, it's even more so now.
Everton 4, West Ham United 1. The Hammers started the half so well, didn't we, gentlemen? Scored a goal within 30 seconds. Restored parity, made it 1-1. But 3 goals conceded in the space of, 28 minutes have condemned the Hammers to what is an absolute certain defeat now. I think that's a hat-trick for Calvert-Lewin as well tonight. And yet again, question marks about West Ham defensively. Very square as that ball was played through.
Yeah.
Calvert-Lewin able to sidestep Declan Rice with consummate ease and just tuck the ball to the left-hand side of Darren Randolph, who was left absolutely no chance whatsoever. That is the end of West Ham's Carabao Cup run. As Pinky says, it's to the league or to the FA Cup that we have to look now for, potentially progressing to Europe. Sounds kind of ludicrous, doesn't it, right now? But Pinky, it's still damn disappointing to be out of a cup in September, isn't it?
Yeah, and spare a thought for the chairman. He's sat there at home now going,
Oh, he must be.
What a waste of 50 grand.
50 grand.
Yeah.
He
must be mortified.
Yeah, but for us, let's be honest. I don't think we're going to win the league this year. Call me Nostradamus, but I don't think we're going to win the league. So now we're down to, here we are, September the 30th, and we're down to one competition that we could still win this season, the FA Cup. And I'm afraid if no reinforcements arrive for the manager, we'll see more of the same. And I'm really labouring the point here tonight. I don't blame the manager. He's doing what he's doing because it isn't a case of resting players. He's scared they'll be injured and out for weeks at a time.
Yeah.
And for us, that could be catastrophic. Yeah. And I'm afraid.
Clearly, that conclusion was arrived at when we went 2-1 down. And I guess maybe if it had been 2-1 at this stage of the game, something might have there might have been some changes. But certainly at 3-1, there became absolutely 0 point to making any changes. As Iwobi goes down there left again, gets the cross in. Johnson doesn't cut it out. Rice heads away. Ball comes back to them on the edge of the box again. It's as Rodriguez is again looking for options, and it's just really, let's keep it to 4. I think at the moment it's with 86 minutes, just come up to 87 minutes gone.
Yeah, those West Ham players out there right now, Gnome, looking very, very leggy, especially, we've spoken about some of the older players like Snodgrass and Noble. I mean, I've just watched Yarmolenko make a run from the centre of the pitch to the right-hand side, and he's almost jogging. And
run is probably overstating it a little bit. But,
it's quite desperate. But as Pinky says, Moyes and Irvine are reticent to bring any players on purely because of the fact that there's absolutely no chance now of getting back into the game. And, we need to preserve the players we've got for a long and what promises to be an arduous season ahead, and one with little prospects of reinforcements arriving. Of course, the transfer window, Pinky, closes in a week's time, and still nothing from Mr. Sullivan.
Yeah, well, I mean, a week, it's Monday tea time, isn't it? It's less than a week, and I don't see the links with any other players being nearly strong enough at this point in time. And the gaps in the squad are there for all to see.
Well, we're just out of chance anyway. Again, it's fallen to the head of Lanzini of all people. Cresswell's sent in, decent cross in, but we need to put Lanzini on the rack. If that had been Haller, it would have been similar to the goal against Wolves. He'd have just sort of looked down on it and been able to head it down without jumping. But well, we've got just over a minute and a half of normal time to go. There'll be a little bit of injury because we've had 2 players taken off through injury in the second half. So I'll keep an eye on that. We're breaking down the left a little bit. It's all a bit going through the motions, and Anderson plays a terrible ball into the middle, which does Snodgrass no favours at all, and Everton come away with the ball. And
sorry, no, I was just going to say we'll dive into the forum in just a minute and YouTube chat.
Sure.
Just see what's going on there. But let's just touch briefly. I mean, it's difficult to pick out good performances when you've been beaten 4-1 at any level or any standard of football. But Pinky, is there anyone out there who's done a reasonable job tonight, for as far as you're concerned?
over the 90 minutes? Not really. You know, I'm looking at that lot there tonight and going, why would I pick any of them on Saturday, other than Rice, obviously, who's going to play in a different position at the weekend.
Sure.
Cresswell, who again, you know, is almost at the point of he'll always be selected because, you know, the options are so few. So for me, what tonight has really shown is how few a range of options the manager's got in key positions, and I just think it's desperately sad.
Well, we're giving it a go to get a sort of third as we move into stoppage time. Haven't seen how much is due, but ball played in from Lanzini to Yarmolenko, who just beat Pickford to it. Just watching it now, clipped over the top. Yarmolenko gets there first, lifts it over Pickford, but also over the bar. Got 3 minutes of stoppage time to play. We're in the 26th second.
Yeah, not a bad effort that from. I mean, to be fair to his credit, Pickford, who we've been quite critical of here tonight, out very sharply and smartly to just get a fist to that, or actually didn't get a fist at all. It's gone
Didn't
for
touch it at all. No, it's goal kick.
Nothing at all, but did well to sort of smother the opportunity. 4-1, Everton, West Ham. No, anyone, you know, Pinky said he doesn't see anyone who's really sort of stood out. No one there that would, you know, guarantee a place on Saturday, given what they've produced tonight. What about you? Ben Johnson maybe done okay, or, you know, anyone else?
Well, Lanzini's put another cross in. Yarmolenko heads it back across goal, and that's been put out by Digne for a corner. Lanzini's starting getting these crosses into Yarmolenko.
Yeah.
I'll stick with the corner, and I'll come back to the comment part in a second. Snodgrass is teeing up the corner now. Needs to be a bit better than the deliveries we've had so far.
One question to ponder while we're waiting for that gentleman.
It's now taking. It's in at the near post. Right, Anderson got to flick on. Lots of bouncing around a little bit there, like a bit like schoolboy football. Came out eventually to Rice, who got a shot in, deflected away for another corner. So we've got Lanzini coming over to take this one. So let's stick with the action for a second.
While we're waiting for that, quickly, Calvert-Lewin for England possibly tomorrow?
Certainly worth a place in the squad, yeah. Lanzini's corner across. Pickford punches not very convincingly, more up in the air than anything else, but comes out and then gathers the ball, catches it at the second attempt, which perhaps reinforces the Pope argument while we're talking about England. Yeah, Calvert-Lewin's he's on fire at the moment. The finish for the first goal was absolutely superb. And I might get slated for this, and it'll be somebody saying, "Oh, you're just being parochial," but actually, on current form, I'd pick him ahead of Kane.
Interesting stuff. I'm looking for excuses not to talk about what we're watching, and there's a quite extraordinary score coming in from the women's cricket, which I'm going to mention because it's more interesting than what we're seeing on the screens. West Indies women scored 41 for 3 in their first innings, and England women have won the 2020 match with 42 for 7. So that's a pretty extraordinary game over there. England women winning series 5-0.
Yeah, did they get the 2 full 20 in on that? I suspect they didn't. Final whistle's gone here, by the way. Yeah. Calvert-Lewin obviously going to check for his match ball. Yeah, Everton, well worth the win. They were the better side on the evening. For me, the key point was just after we scored the goal. We sat back, we defended deep. We didn't do enough to retain the ball, and we invited them in onto us. And the second that they got the second goal, that really was it. I didn't think we were going to come back from that. Couple of late chances, which would have been sort of consolation more than anything else. But Everton deserve winners on the night. Can't really have any complaints about that. Your earlier question, anybody stand out? Well, you know you're always going to get effort from the likes of Snodgrass and Noble. Would I pick them? For Saturday, no, I'd go with the same starting lineup on Saturday, assuming all available, as we had for the Wolves game. And I think that's system suits us better. Yeah, tonight's system suited the players that we had there perhaps better, but the good news is that the players we come in, I mean, as Peaky said, we're probably looking at retaining 2 from that starting lineup, that being Cresswell and Rice. Ogbonna, Masuaku, Souček, Bone and Fornals all on the bench, all thankfully would have escaped injury, though knowing our luck, something silly will happen, the chair will collapse or something stupid, and they'll be daft. But no footballing injuries for any of those. And
Good stuff.
yeah, okay. Final scores from elsewhere up and down the country. As we mentioned earlier on, Newcastle threw 5-4 on penalties away at Newport. Full-time at Turf Moor, Burnley 0, Manchester City 3. A brace from Sterling and Torres, goal scorers there. And it's now full-time down at Brighton. Brighton 0, Manchester United 3, full-time. Again, subject to anything else. The goals for Manchester United came from McTominay, Mata, and Pogba on the 80th minute. And obviously 4-1 here at Goodison Park. And that brings us up to date.
The understatement of the evening, probably from the West Ham United Twitter feed, who post to say, not the result we were hoping for tonight, as Everton win the tie. That's true, I suppose. You can't really argue with it. But I'm just sort of wondering a bit there, Pinky. I'm thinking back to the start of the second half. 30 seconds gone. Super Bobby Snodgrass bangs one in from the left-hand side of the penalty box. It's 1-1. All to play for, as you said. You know, the kind of longer the game goes on, the more frustrated and concerned Ancelotti and Everton must get. West Ham didn't make any changes, didn't react, just kept it as it is, almost as if that was kind of preordained in a way, perhaps before the game. We've lost 4-1, so we can't really say that, you know, it was close and we were unlucky to lose. But you think really, you know, given where we were sort of 45 minutes ago, that it was a bit of a wasted opportunity?
Very much so, you know, because in the first half, okay, we went in a goal behind at the break, but we're still in the competition. To score as early on as we did in the second half, well, then we're more than just in the competition. We're in with a shout of winning.
Yeah.
And you have to say, you know, we're West Ham United. We've actually won some trophies in our time. We've actually got some silverware somewhere, you know, to show for our efforts. And it's just so disappointing that this competition, you know, there's a place in the quarterfinal up for grabs. Carlo Ancelotti set his stall out. He had at least 6 of his big guns in his starting 11. He's lost 3 of them, so he's paid a heavy price for getting into the next round.
Yeah.
But at least we could see clearly what he was trying to do. The disappointment for me tonight was, if our plan was keep it tight, hang on in there and try and nick something at the death, well, the death ultimately turned out to be about the 50th minute. And once they got their noses in front for the second time, I don't think we had either the desire or interest, even vague interest, in trying to claw it back. So for me, the game kind of went when Everton went 2-1 up. No subs from the manager then, none at 3-1, and 4-1 just becomes a bit of a rout. And yeah, you've got to question us as a football club. We shouldn't accept that. We shouldn't accept that being stuffed in the Carabao Cup at this stage by Everton, because let's not forget, every time Karen Brady wants to make a point about, you know, a benchmarking comment, Everton are frequently her go-to club, and she'd be mentioning Everton in the same breath as West Ham United. Well, tonight Everton set the stall out, they've gone on, they've won the tie. We, on the other hand, we kind of set our stall out as well, and it really does look as if we weren't bothered about whether or not we won. And for my money, That's not good enough for West Ham United. And I'm not digging out David Moyes here. I'm not even particularly digging out the 11 players we had on the pitch. It's just sad that we're in this position. How has it come to this, that we're not even trying to win cup games? I don't know.
Interesting point. Gnome, would you agree with Pinky there? Do you think we'd almost thrown that before it begun, and to have progressed tonight would have been more luck than judgment?
I'm always wary of saying that players deliberately try not to win games, and I'm sure airfares and stuff apart. The David Moyes, Alan Irvine, and the players would have been delighted to have actually progressed. But it rapidly became clear that the substitutions that weren't made, it was a clear signal that okay, if we can win this with the players that are out there, all well and good, but we're not gonna chase it. We're not gonna try and force. We're not gonna try and do anything different to push that through, which is it's not quite deliberately going out not to progress, but it's you're not trying as you're not busting a gut to progress. There's a slight difference in that. The other thing is, and everybody says, oh yeah, the League Cup, there's a chance of winning, and but we forget that I think last couple of years it's been Manchester City's, and it's becoming more and more difficult in either of the cup competitions to actually for the teams outside the top four to really make a fist of that. In the past, it was kind of a welcome release from the league travails. It was something, you could aim for. Everybody had a decent shout at it, but it's almost going the same way as the league has over the last 10, 15 years, as everything's been sort of geared up to assist and help out those top six in the league. Insofar as in all likelihood, there may be a freak result in the cup, but you're not going to win too much money betting on Wigan to win it like they did the other year. Us, you're not going to win a lot of money betting on us to win it. I hope I'd be wrong, but the likelihood is that now that the top four clubs kind of almost look on the League Cup or the FA Cup as kind of fail safes to make sure that they've got something in the bag for Europe in case they have a blip season. So it's becoming more and more difficult to make the cup some sort of priority. It's a sad point of view, I'm afraid, but I think it's becoming increasingly true. I mean, looking at tomorrow's fixtures, you've got Brentford, Fulham, Villa, Stoke, Liverpool, Arsenal, and out of those six clubs, you think that the most likely to win the trophy is going to come out of that last fixture. Villa, Stoke, Brentford, Fulham. Well, they're going to. Whoever wins either of those is going to come up against either Liverpool, Arsenal, Man City, Man United. If they're lucky, they might get Tottenham. But those are just going to be sort of like bypassed on the way through, but by one of those larger clubs.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I wasn't laughing at what you were saying there. No, I've just a comment while you were speaking. I was just having a quick look at the YouTube comments, and there was a quote from I've lost it now. Where is it? Hammer Ted, who says very disappointing. Anderson has had a mare. He reminds me of my ex-wife. I'm fond of him and I want the best for him, but he no longer gets me excited. So
see, I think more of Anderson than I do of my ex-missus, but I'm not fond of her. I don't particularly care about her. She's not my problem anymore. But
interesting. No, while you were talking, also there, I was watching a replay of the goals, and I think it's the second Everton goal, and someone's had a screaming at Yarmolenko for something he didn't do, and I think it's related to him tracking back, and Yarmolenko kind of did that sort of thing where he throws his arms up as if to say it wasn't my fault. But a lot of unhappiness in that team out there tonight. The last goal, where the ball was played, straight through the middle, Rice and Cresswell turn away in sort of a hope of a flag being raised, and there's nothing there. And even Randolph can't even be kind of bothered to sort of complain too vociferously, just sort of a half-hearted show of disappointment from the keeper. But it's a shame, isn't it? We were really in that, Pinky, at one point, and we little bit, Lady Luck perhaps has gone our way at 1-1. You never know. Lanzini is a foot, he's a little bit taller. Or, one of those headers goes in the back of the net, or Hilaire's chance. It's one of those, isn't it? But, at the end of the day, you can't really complain about being stuffed 4-1, can you? You can't say, well, we were unlucky in any way.
I mean, the brutal truth is, Carlo Ancelotti played Calvert-Lewin, Richarlison, and James Rodriguez. That's his first pick front three every Saturday afternoon, and that's him saying, "I want to win this game of football." I've pointed out already, they've paid a price for it, but at least they're in the next round. Mm-hmm. For me, our whole approach to this game has been wrong. From the moment David Sullivan went on national radio a week ago, bemoaning the fact that it's going to cost him 50 grand. This doesn't cost David Sullivan 50 grand. It costs West Ham United 50 grand, or whatever it costs to transport the players, to Merseyside. What sort of message is that sent to the players?
Absolutely.
What sort of message does that send to the manager? And for my money, and I take on board Gnome's points about, get to the final all you want, but you've still got to beat Man City. Well, if what we're saying as West Ham United Football Club, there's no point trying because the chances of beating City in the final are remote. Well, what does that mean for the likes of Rochdale? Brentford, dare I say it?
Yeah.
Chelsea. Other clubs that would have genuine aspirations at some point to participate. If we are saying there's no point trying because we're not going to win it, then the club chairman should just be honest, and they should actually say to sponsors, we're not going to have this competition any longer because none of us value it. We won't encourage our managers to try and win it. We won't fund squads to try and win it. And the dangerous thing for me here, if we won't fund a squad to compete in the Carabao Cup, what was it, 7 or 8 matches, to win the thing? Does anyone seriously believe our chairman has any intention of funding us to get to the point where we might get into the Europa League or the Champions League? And clearly he doesn't, because bloody hell, think of the travel costs, and then I've got to have extra players, and there's probably a few more physios to hire, and the cost of the laundry after all those extra games, washing the shirts, mopping the shower floor, it just goes on and on. Basically, what the chairman revealed with his really poor statement last week was he's given up. He's given up his main task as a football club chairman, which is to get a competitive squad together by funding the manager appropriately. And David Moyes will cop the flak tonight. I mean, you go through the forum, there's post after post after post this evening from people saying no substitutions, it's Moyes, it's Moyes, it's Moyes. Let me say very clearly, this is not about David Moyes. This is about a football club that has been badly run from top to bottom for about a decade. And the supporters, quite rightly now, have absolutely had enough of this, because If we're giving up, what's the point? What is the point? And shame on David Sullivan. I don't particularly criticise the players that were on the pitch tonight. They tried their best,
Mm-hmm.
you know. But 33-year-old Mark Noble, 33-year-old Robert Snodgrass, a youngster in Ben Johnson, Declan Rice playing out of position in the centre back. You know, I'm sorry, it's not good enough, and that isn't down to the manager. It really isn't.
Is David Moyes sending out a message there, Pinky? And you've actually kind of preempted what I was going to ask you just a few moments ago when you mentioned how David Moyes was already being criticised on the forum, because I wanted to ask you, you know, we appreciate we have a small squad, it's very thin, but you know, there was really no intention there for Moyes, was there, to make changes and try and get back into the game. So, you know, should he be receiving some blame for that, or is it just, you know, this is, and let's not forget, this is essentially what Sam Allardyce used to do, and none more evidently than that day at the City Ground, when he put out a team of kids to say to Sullivan, "I need extra players." So, yeah, coming back to the point, is Moyes to blame in any way, or should we be absolving him of all responsibility here, or is, you know, those people who are being blameful towards him right in some way?
Well, I mean, the difficulty is for the manager. You know, he's at a club where the chairman's basically saying, generate your own future transfer kitty by finishing further up the Premier League table.
Yeah,
you know, £2 million a place. So the actual one place in the league table is worth more to you financially, Mr. Manager, than winning the Carabao Cup. So the chairman is guiding the manager's thought process. But let me put it this way. Do we assume it's David Moyes' fault, Sam Allardyce's fault, Slaven Bilic's fault?
mm-hmm.
You see where this is going. And for my money, the pattern keeps coming back to the same problem. And yeah, Moyes could have made changes tonight. He absolutely could have done.
Yep.
No question about it. He could have put some players on, and then he runs the same risk that Ancelotti's come up against. The difference is, I'd back Carlo Ancelotti to pick the phone up to his chairman tomorrow and say, we're into the next round, Mr. Chairman. Can you just find an extra few million to get me a player in on loan just to plug a gap, because the three lads that went off, I'm going to be without one of them for a little while, and I just need a bit of cover. And I suspect the Everton chairman would find the money and support his manager. David Moyes doesn't have that option, and therefore he has to take the view of the professional, which is, I've got to finish as high up the league as I can, because otherwise the January transfer budget won't be there. You know, if we're in 16th place,
yeah,
then there's no money. If, however, we're in 9th place, the chairman might say, yeah, I'll roll the dice. You can have 7 or 8 million quid to spend on a player. And that's the brutal truth. But for me, that isn't good enough for West Ham. And, you know, just a basic, I'm not saying we threw the tie, but one manager set a stall out tonight, and he took the chance, but he took the chance knowing he would be supported by his employer.
Yeah.
The other manager went safety first because he knows his employer won't support him. And it's that simple.
Lots of criticism for David Moyes, Gnome, coming in already on the forum.
Yeah, a bit unfair.
On the chat. Justified in any way?
A bit unfair, I think. As we've said, Ancelotti, as I say, put the big guns out, and he's now got 3 players in the treatment room, which has been the cost of them progressing. Yeah, that's the cost of them progressing into the next round. Yeah. Richarlison, if his injury is as painful as it looked, would be a big miss for them. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, poor David was kind of damned if he did, damned if he didn't.
Yeah.
He's sent on subs chasing the game, and that's kind of the difference between Everton and us. We sent them subs chasing the game. If, say, for example, Bonner had pulled up lame, Masuaku who pulled up late. That's our two of our sort of big players for the weekend. I think the same people. Human nature is to complain, and I think the same people might have been saying, "Well, why did they send him on earlier on?" The difference was though that Ancelotti could put those big guns out in the knowledge that that they still had big guns to replace them that could come in. I mean, Sigurdsson doesn't normally get a game on a Saturday. He's usually on the bench, so.
But then I think what the question is, sorry, I'm coming in there. Why take the likes of Jared Bowen and Thomas Souček all the way to Merseyside if you've got no intention whatsoever of using them?
Because if it had been 2-1 down with maybe 10, 15 minutes left, Mr. Moyes might have said, you know what, let's give this a go.
Okay.
And the point was that we didn't get to 15 minutes left, only 2-1 down. By the time we got to the point at which those substitutions might logically have been made, the game was pretty much gone. If you're 3-1 down, then there's absolutely no point to it on a pragmatic basis. So,
but do you think he would have rolled the dice and done that if that were the case?
I think 2-1 down, 15 minutes left. I think he might have done. That's why those guys were there.
All right, Pinky, do you agree with that? Do you think Moyes might have said, let's throw a band into the wind and give it a crack?
I think he possibly would have done, because it is, it's just a straightforward risk-reward issue, and you just take the view: am I going to lose 3 players in 15 minutes? Probably not.
Yeah, you
might lose 1.
Exactly. You send someone on for 15 minutes. That's only 15 minutes for them to get injured in. If you send them on. We went 2-1 down, 50 minutes?
56, I think it was, wasn't it? Yeah,
55 minutes, something like that. Still a good half an hour left. More than half an hour left. At that point, you're thinking, well, let's see how it goes for the next 10, 15 minutes. And if we're still in this, then maybe.
Okay.
So that I mean, we may not like it that the priority at that point is not going to be the League Cup, but it's the whole League Cup thing is a bit of a conundrum. I mean, this was the inevitable result of maybe 15 years ago, maybe longer than that, when Manchester United and Liverpool were the first teams that started sending out the kids in League Cup matches, and at that time, the regulations were that you will play your strongest possible 11.
No, can I just stop you there very quickly? Pinky, we've got Alan Irvine just come on. Are you guys still running your streams?
Yeah.
Pinky,
no.
Can you just keep an eye on Alan Irvine for us and let us know what he has to say? And we'll come in when Gnome's finished his point here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Sorry, Gnome.
15, 20 years ago, Liverpool and Man United started sticking their kids in to League Cup matches in the early rounds. And it was totally against the regulations of the competition, which said you'll field your strongest team.
That's it.
And in the end, it's the usual thing. The sort of big 6 made all sorts of rumblings about not bothering to enter the competition if they weren't allowed to do what they did.
Yeah.
And obviously by that time we had the schism between the Football League and the Premier League. And in a normal season, some very hard up clubs would do quite well out of having Liverpool at home or Man United at home. And if they sort of pulled out of the competition, then there were some clubs that wouldn't like that. So eventually it was the sort of the sheer weight of money sort of prevailed, till we got to the extent now that you sort of prioritize it up to a point. But if you then sort of say, well, what have I got Saturday? Whereas in the past, I remember going to League Cup matches. We were talking the other night when somebody came on from Darlington.
Yep.
And we beat them 3-0, and it was a side. It was pretty much a West Ham first team. It was Padden, Brooking, Bonds. They were all out there. Nobody was rested.
But I mean,
Yeah.
I mean that was roughly the time when Liverpool were winning the league with, what was the year when they won it with 14 first team squad players? It was late 70s.
It may have been a year or two after that.
Yeah,
Because,
but the point being that you know
yeah.
you didn't have squads then, did you? It was you
Yeah.
had your first 11, and there was the odd sub now and again. That was
Yeah.
That was how
Yeah,
it was.
you only had one guy on the bench, and
Yeah.
so you picked you weighed up the opposition and wondered if you were going to be needed to shore up defence or attacking. Just one, yeah. So I can remember that. At one point it moved to 2 subs, and we were away at Liverpool, and we needed to avoid a really stonking defeat. And it was unusual. John Lyall actually named Phil Parkes as one of the subs, because if anything went wrong with a goalkeeper,
Yeah.
he wanted a goalkeeper to be on the bench, to go in goal. Now, obviously, you have much bigger benches. You always have a goalkeeper, or like last week too.
Yeah.
But it just shows how everything's geared up to sort of please these clubs. I mean, to the extent now that the League Cup has, I'm afraid it was always the third competition, wasn't it? And always will be secondary to the Cup, just purely through history. But it's the devaluation of it has progressed even further.
Yeah, absolutely, no question about it. Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. What you say there, you can absolutely see the genesis of that when Manchester United and Liverpool, Manchester United particularly, playing, those poorer squads and not being punished for having done so. While Pinky's just surmising what Mr. Irvine had to say there, I'll jump into the forum and just have a look at a few posts quickly, and just to see what people are saying. As we said, a lot of criticism, maybe deserved, maybe not. I mean, I kind of agree with you guys that David Moyes was on a hiding to nothing there tonight. Suts07 says, so glad that fans are not allowed and our loyal following didn't have to suffer that. The only positive of the night. An utter disgrace the way we approach cup games these days. I'm sick of it year in and year out. One of many things that has to change. That lineup was disrespectful towards Everton. And most importantly of us fans who have waited 40 years to see a hint of a trophy. Rice and Balbuena at the back, Noble and Snodgrass in the middle. What were we thinking? Lanzini and Anderson should be made to pay £10 to the EFL streaming site for sitting and watching the game for free. Unduly harsh comments, perhaps from Suts there. Ollie WH6 says, Haller got less than 0 service today. I'm not sure he made an awful lot of attempts to get much, Ollie, but he continues. The idea that this game is on him is the rambling of a madman. He got one dodgy ball to him in which he created our best chance of the half. Moyes is a shambles of a manager. He hates making changes at the best of times, but in a winnable knockout game with 20 minutes to go, we were on the rise with easy and obvious changes to make. I don't care about losing to a better team. I hate losing without any attempt at winning the game. Okay, so Ollie, one of those who's particularly critical of David Moyes. Billy Dino says, only West Ham can undo a 4-0 win in less than a week, which is fair enough. And Ironhammer 58 says, out with hardly a whimper, GSB are gutless failures. So choosing not to criticise the manager for his team selection or inability to make changes, but instead pointing, as Pinky has done so frequently, tonight and throughout the weeks, at those above him for failing to provide the manager with sufficient investment to make the squad able to challenge, in these sort of games. Pinky, Alan Irvine, what did he have to say?
Well, disappointed to have lost the game. His comments were that he felt that 3 goals we conceded in the second half were down to poor defending, and all 3 were avoidable in his view. Wasn't asked at all about why no subs. It was the softest interview since my mum asked me, would I like another portion of apple crumble? Is that sort of level of inquisitiveness. But one thing he did reveal,
Jim White on Sullivan.
Indeed. One thing he did reveal was the fact that David Moyes didn't actually watch the whole game. So he had technical issues at some point. And
Okay.
of course, that will be the get out of jail card. He was in touch with our bench by telephone, but he
Yeah.
couldn't actually see the whole game himself.
Did you think he was using the Carabao Cup streaming service? Because we all had little difficulties, didn't we, at points in the second half? But that's astonishing, that isn't it? That we didn't have the right technology in place to make that a thing. It seems strange.
Yeah, and therein lies the issue of streaming. I've got 4 devices on the go in my front room here tonight.
Yeah.
And, some of it's a bit slow. So who knows what David Moyes has got. But generally, Irvine felt that he wouldn't call it a weakened team, he called it a different team.
Okay.
He said plenty of the players had plenty of Premier League experience. I, of course, would argue that some of them had probably too much Premier League experience.
Yes.
Yeah. So basically, it was a powder puff interview.
Yeah.
And they've got Ancelotti on there now, who I don't know what he's saying, but at the end of the day, they've won. We've lost. So we've had a long trip up there. So Bowen and Souček, they'll be getting home late tonight, a little bit tired ahead of the weekend. A lot of miles on the clock, none of them on the pitch. And you got to say, what's it all for? And I just wonder if the reason why those players go up there, notwithstanding the 10-minute sort of what is it they call it in American football, the Hail Mary play kind of attitude. But who have we really got coming through that you could credibly put on the bench? And again, the question earlier, why wasn't Elise given a game? Well, the answer is look at the Everton front 3. So you're not going to play Johnson and Elise as 2 of your back 4. You're simply not, because when Everton's 9th goal goes in, you get slaughtered. So you kind of rule that out and you go with the more senior of those 2 players. We keep coming back to the same thing, though, for me.
Yep.
If we're not going to try to win the competition, don't enter it. Be honest. Be honest with the sponsors. Be honest with the supporters. And just say this competition has had its day because no one's interested, because none of us can beat Man City.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I look forward to the day the Arsenal chairman stands up and says that, or the Tottenham chairman says that, because effectively that's what the West Ham United chairman's saying. Let's not bother.
There's also a couple of fans, Pinky, saying that as well on the YouTube chat. Lowell Green says the players are not able to do it like they did 30 years ago. I think that's a reference to what you were saying, Gnome, while Pinky was keeping a track on Alan Irvine's comments. But Trodge says there's no point in watching us in cups when we don't even want to win. And he adds they don't care about the fans and they don't understand us. I was always taught as a kid, as long as you try your best, that's a good thing, but we don't. And it kind of makes you wonder what, this is a much bigger argument, I think, Gnome, but it kind of makes you wonder where football's going when, you look at these competitions and you think, well, we haven't got a cat in hell's chance of winning the League Cup because Manchester City are kind of all powerful. It's the same in the FA Cup. Eventually, you're gonna face Liverpool, Man City, or one of those teams. The Premier League, we're only there to make up the numbers. What is the point these days of being a supporter of a football club, of anyone outside the top 3 or 4?
Well, lots of stuff there. I mean, I don't think the League Cup has quite got to the stage where it's going to be Man City or Liverpool with others, because of the nature of the cup thing. There'll always be sort of things in one-off, but it's getting that way. That's we're getting towards that sort of thing. Even when it was part of the Football League, the first division, excuse me, and it was part of the Football League. The reason the Premier League exists is purely and simply because rich clubs wanted to get greedier and richer. And you can trace this back even before the Premier League was a twinkle in Alan Sugar's eye.
Yeah.
and you go back into the 80s, and you could see where this was going. Sometime in the early 80s, and I can't remember exactly what year it was, but things were a lot. The playing field was a lot more level, purely and simply because you didn't have a TV deal as such. You had BBC used to have a couple of games. You had your regional ITV coverage, and where the bulk of the money came in from was gate money, which it still is as you go further down the food chain.
Yeah.
Then in the 80s, clubs such as Liverpool, Manchester United that had very big average home gates, 40, 50,000 every week, started to sort of stamp their feet and saying, this isn't fair. Why should we have to give? And I think it was, not sure, it might have been a quarter, it might have been half the gate money to the opponents. So if you went up to Liverpool, you got a chunk of that gate money.
Yeah.
And it used to obviously be a sort of central clearing type thing. It would be balance out with what you'd have to give them. But of course, the people who had the bigger home gates were having to pay out more than they got in from the other one. So Liverpool were most vociferous on this. Same with Manchester United. It was, we might set up our own Super League with other big clubs, maybe a Super European League, which of course, again, a little bit like with the League Cup, people blinked and it got voted through that henceforth you keep your home gate money. Mm-hmm. And from that point onwards, the rich have carried on getting richer. The rest have struggled. And, the inevitable consequences that in the Premier League, you've got to the point where now only a few teams can win it. Whereas
that always been the case, though?
No. There were at the start of a season. There were always, you looked at last season. There were always a decent number of teams capable of putting in a shift, and obviously Liverpool, Man United were always going to be strong. Leeds back in the 70s. Derby County won the league a couple of times.
We're going back 50 years now, though, aren't we?
But it was 50 years ago things started to change. Mm-hmm. And so I'm just tracing this all back to the origins. Nottingham Forest, famously.
Yeah, come straight up one straight away. Yeah. But again, we're going back, that's 40, 45 years ago. And
but again, it was 40, 45 years ago that the richer clubs didn't like, having to sort of pay over money.
Yeah.
And because the richer you are, the more likely you are to have better players. I mean, we're going back even as old as I am, older than I am. Famously, Burnley have a league championship on their roster in 1960, and that was a pretty much home-built side in a ground that one of the smaller grounds in the country even back then, because they were able to compete to a certain degree because there was this sort of this league basis that leveled out to a certain degree the income that was coming in.
Yeah.
And the famous thing about that Burnley win, the bizarre thing about that Burnley league title win was that the one and only day they were actually top of the league was on the last day.
Is that true? Amazing. Incredible.
But Leicester the other day, the other year, that was a blip, but even then there's big money gone into that, and they're sort of pushing their way into sort of gate crashing that top level. But you need the money to back it. Now, it's an inevitable consequence. I say, yes, all that was 50 years ago. And sadly, I'm old enough to remember most of it. But you want to know why we are where we are now. Go back to, I think, 1983, maybe around then, when they started saying, no, we'll keep our own gate money.
Okay. Is the FA Cup, we're seeing changes there, aren't we, recently? I mean, I suppose one of the big ones, Pinky, with the FA Cup is that, we'll all remember as boys, going, well, not just the FA Cup, but the League Cup, all the European Cups as well. Endless replays. West Ham were involved in a few of those, weren't we? Stoke City, 1972 in the League Cup semi-final when Bobby Moore saved a penalty.
They're still playing that on my stream.
Yeah. Of course, some of the most famous days in our history were involving replays. The Frank Lampard song came from one such game in 1980. Liverpool, the all-conquering Liverpool side, that Ray Stewart penalty forced to a replay at Villa Park. They've knocked them on the head, haven't they? I mean, all this stuff. Even tonight, we're not even getting extra time anymore. But talking about what Gnome's talking about there, the point about the gate receipts. You could imagine the money a club would earn from a game like that went sort of to 3 or 4 matches. But
the problem being is for the so-called elite clubs, and I stress this so-called because once upon a time there was a big 5, but actually it's a different big 6 now.
Mm-hmm.
But those so-called elite clubs are getting plenty of match days because they're playing Champions League,
Sure.
They're playing Europa League,
Yep.
so that they're getting a dozen games a season more than West Ham United and other clubs. Therefore, by definition, they're getting richer and richer and richer because they're keeping all of that gate money now. Whereas in the days of the League Cup, the FA Cup, they'd have to share it. Just a couple of names.
Cup competitions is still shared. You get a quarter of the gate money as the away side in the cup competitions now. So yeah, which is obviously no consolation to anybody in the Football League at the moment. But
yeah.
But by cancelling the replays because the dates have been allocated to Champions League and Europa League matches, those games never take place anymore.
Yeah.
So, but just a couple of names just to chuck in there. The soon to be out of business and wiped from football history Wigan Athletic in 2012-13 won the FA Challenge Cup. Okay, it's the only thing they'll win in their history. The club will go bust.
I think they've got a buyer, Pinky, today.
Have they got a buyer? Have they?
I haven't read the full details. There's the headline was that Spanish interests are coming. But if you want to carry on talking, I'll get out the details.
Yeah, please do, because £2 million would have bought you from the administrator, the Wigan squad, the Wigan ground, and the Wigan training ground. £2 million.
What's the debt there, Pinky?
Sorry?
What's the debt there?
Well, I mean, the debt doesn't matter because they're in administration. The issue is the ongoing player contract liabilities.
Okay.
So you need some cash to fund those.
Okay.
There's a Spanish investor. The headline is Spanish investor agrees to buy Wigan Athletic out of administration. A substantial deposit has already been paid. Sorry, as this advert comes in. Right. Yeah. Begbie's trainer, who are well known in my chosen profession.
Yes, you've got them on speed dial. Yes.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. The administration speed dial people. Gerald Krasner and Paul Stanley, Begbie's trainer, said the bidder has experience in football, but otherwise no details have been released, saying that they've agreed to keep the investor's identity confidential until the purchase is complete. The bidder is committed to buying the club and paying the minimum 25p in the pound owed to non-football creditors, the administrators have said, which would mean that the club can emerge from administration in League One this season without a points deduction for leaving creditors short. Krasner said in July that the club owed non-football creditors approximately £6 million. Football creditors, which is wages owed to players and any outstanding subs to other clubs, must be paid in full according to the EFL rules. The administrators said in August that they were looking for £4 million to sell the club and the stadium, and that a further £5 million was needed to cover costs for this season and the next. If the sale does complete and Wigan's future is excuse me, assured after a traumatic period since the club was plunged into administration on the 1st of July. It would prompt some much needed optimism in the EFL, whose clubs are grappling with the financial crisis caused by COVID-19. The full statement read, "We're pleased to announce we have reached an agreement with a preferred bidder from Spain. The offer has been accepted, deals not only with the sale of the club, but allows the payment to non-football creditors to avoid the penalty this season. A substantial deposit has been received. We are now working with lawyers and the bidder to produce all of the necessary paperwork to submit to the EFL so that a successful transfer of football share can be made at the earliest opportunity." So that's the story as it stands on that.
Okay, I mean, for me, that it's encouraging because you don't want to see any club go bust, you know. But the point I was making there is that there's a club there, an unfashionable club, less than a decade ago, won the FA Cup. And here's another name for you in the League Cup, and perhaps a bit closer to home. 2011, Birmingham City Football Club won the League Cup. There you go.
Yeah, we all remember that one very well, don't we?
So how long ago is that? That's 9 years.
9 years.
It's 9 years.
Yeah.
But again, I think Mr. Sullivan was still hanging on in there at that club at that time. Was he? Had he just gone? He was already with us by then, wasn't he? So,
yeah, I think it was a year or so, a season or so after he'd gone, hadn't he? But
so it's a season after he got out of there, and so he'd been with us for a year. But the point being, it's possible if you try. If you try. And
it's getting less possible by the minute, though, I think is the point I'm making.
Yeah, on that, just looking at the winners since Birmingham, Liverpool 2012, Swansea won it in 2013, beat Bradford City in the final. That's not going to, you know, that's a fixture you're not going to get often. It's kind of a bit like Millwall reaching the FA Cup final, isn't it? All those, well, not so many years ago, but in this century anyway. Man City won it in 2014, beating Sunderland. Chelsea followed that up by beating Tottenham. And the last 5 years, Man City have won it 4 times, beating Liverpool, Arsenal, Chelsea and Aston Villa last year. And the only blip really is when it went to the other Manchester club. Man United beating Southampton 3-2. So you've got to pull off something pretty special to win the trophy. And you know, but you know, looking back actually at the competition through the 90s and the 2000s, it's pretty much big clubs all the way. Leicester won it in 2000 when they beat Tranmere. I think that was when Tony Cottee played for them in that game, I think. But you know, you look at Leicester actually won it twice in 3 years. But it's Arsenal's, Man U's, Chelsea's, Tottenham's, Liverpool's. You know, it's
because back then it was you knew you had more of a chance because those clubs were treating it sort of less seriously, and it's now one for you though. Of course, one of my favourite old stats, which will never happen again. We've talked about the sad loss of replays. Oxford City versus Alvechurch is the famous one from the FA Cup, which they had one match and 5 replays, totaling 11 hours worth of football. No penalty shootouts in the FA Cup back then, and Alvechurch won the 5th replay 1-0. And I can't remember the guy's name. There was one guy who played in every single minute of it.
Yeah.
I remember reading an interview with him years ago, and he was saying, "Oh, yeah, we played 6 times in about 3 weeks. We played each other, and you know, by the 6th game, it was like we were walking around and saying, 'Hello, Bill, all right, mate?'" Yeah.
I wonder what the most replays West Ham have ever been involved in. This is one for Rio, but of course I wonder if that Stoke one was perhaps, what was that? 3 replays? Was it Stoke?
Stoke 2 replays, I think.
Well, 2, yeah.
Yeah, but it was a 2-leg. Well, no, was it a 2-legged match?
Well, that's it. Yeah, it was a 2-legged game, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But then 2 replays, so 4 matches in total. I wonder if we've ever. There's one we'll have to look up for our next stream on Sunday, and perhaps come back with some more info on that. We're going to wrap up there. Actually, I think, gentlemen, we've we've done an hour's sort of post-mortem on the game. Pinky, have we got time to dip into the match thread once more before we call it a day?
Do, but actually, just thinking back to what I was saying about Birmingham there,
Yeah.
that would be the very first time I met you, Gordon, was in a pub in the semi-final.
That was, yeah. Oh, that got a little bit naughty there, didn't it, on the way home?
Yeah. That's right. So Birmingham beat us over in the semi, and then went on to win the damn thing.
I don't know. I didn't see you after the game, but what happened was I had to meet the lovely Upton girlie. Hello, Catherine, if you're watching. And she'd managed to get to the bar in a hotel, kind of about 3 or 4 minutes walk away from the ground. And what they had was they were separating the away supporters from the home supporters with a line of police transit vans, which of course only goes so far, and then you meet at the end. So what West Midlands finest, and they're not my favourite police force, we're doing with, firstly, they were allowing the lobbing of bricks and stuff over the top of the transit vans at us without that bothering to stem that flow. And then, of course, at the end where the two lines met, I suppose fairly understandably, not condoning violence or anything, but people who were walking down the away line, having been a little bit fed up with having bricks lobbed at them, were ready to repay in kind. So I managed to sort of skirt my way around that and got to the hotel bar, and we managed to get our way out. There were tales as well of somebody in a car sort of aiming cars at football supporters as well, which was all a bit naughty. But yeah, it wasn't a great night, was it?
Deeply unpleasant, and I think the use of the dogs by the West Midlands Police that night was not really appropriate, and not a great evening. That, but you know, Birmingham, they stayed in that competition, they beat us, they went on to win it. I take your point about if you'd have hoped, since the Premier League, really, there's probably no more than a dozen clubs have won all 3 domestic competitions between them. And so your point, of course, is absolutely right, Gordon. You know, that it's getting harder.
It shouldn't
and harder.
be that way. I quite agree with you, but it's becoming more and more difficult for that to happen. Now, it's a debate for another time, and I think we want to go shortly. Graham's been trying to wrap up, and I've got my nightly phone call to make. But at the end of the day, it's you reap what you sow, and by caving in 30, 40 years ago to the whims of Liverpool, Manchester United, what did they expect? I mean, Liverpool, Man United are getting what they expected. Manchester City, to a certain degree, they're happy. And
there you go. On the forum, Graham, just to wrap up, we've already got a thread started. It's called "What is the Point?" And then Dal has started it. So long-serving, member of the forum. 16 years on there, and he's got a professional football club that has no chance of winning the league. In fairness, not many do, but no ambition to ever attempt to win a cup. 40 years now since an FA Cup win. Chairman goes public that winning a game has cost us 50 grand. Managers' contracts are heavily bonus related to stay in the Premier League, ensuring weakened teams in cup games. And his point is, what is the point? And tonight there weren't any paying public there, thankfully, but I would normally be one of the ones that would flog up to Goodison midweek. It'd have been a day and a half off work. You'd go up there on a mission that the chances are you're coming home on the back of a defeat, and it's cheating the paying public, all of this. And I have a lot of sympathy with what Dal was saying here. Is the point. And I think the football club chairman, not the managers, the chairman, all of them need to look at each other in a room and say, what are we doing here? Because we're just being dishonest, because it's not really a cup competition. because people aren't competing, and it's that simple.
As Gnome said there, I think that there's a huge debate to be had there, perhaps for another day. But yeah, I mean, a lot of despondency amongst the fan base tonight. We've gone out of the Carabao Cup with barely a whimper. Falling behind in the 11th minute, Calvert-Lewin scoring the first goal. A glimmer of hope for West Ham in the opening minute of the second half when Super Bobby Snodgrass pulled one back within 30 seconds of the restart. The hope and joy only lasted for about 10 minutes before Richarlison made it 2-1 with a heavily deflected effort. Calvert-Lewin scored again in the 77th and 84th minutes to secure probably unfair, really. It wasn't really a 4-1 game, I guess, until perhaps the last few minutes when West Ham gave up. But that's how it ended. West Ham are out of the Carabao Cup after a couple of decent games. Someone said earlier in the chat, on the KUMB Forum, all that positive energy that came from the 4-0 win at the weekend seems to have dissipated within the space of about 72 hours. But who knows? We'll be back on Sunday for Eyes Up Mother Brown when West Ham face Leicester City away from home. And as Pinky pointed out tonight, it might have been you, Gnome, actually, but Jamie Vardy will probably be rubbing his hands together looking at the way West Ham's defence parted like the Red Sea for Moses up at Goodison Park tonight. That is just about it for Eyes Up Mother Brown tonight. As always, we thank you for joining us on the live stream. We thank you for your support, as always, on the Knees Up Mother Brown website, on the forum, and especially on the match threads. We will be back on Sunday at Sunday lunchtime, isn't it? 1 p.m. We've had a lot of evening games lately, haven't we, chaps? So it's good to actually be doing one in the afternoon in daylight and, having the rest of the day to enjoy. My thanks, as always, go to my fellow team members here for joining me on the stream, to Gnome and to the Pink Palermo. Only the three of us tonight, Rio and Bristol Hammer, Chalks and DL unable to join us, but of course they'll all be back around again very, very soon. If you've enjoyed what you've seen tonight, give us a like downstairs, down there somewhere. And if you haven't already, subscribe to KUMB's YouTube channel so you can be notified when we go live in future or for any content that we publish. We will be back, as I said, on Sunday for Eyes Up Mother Brown. Before that, there will be a special show that we're putting out on the KUMB.com channel tomorrow night. It's a Hammers United related show. The panel been selected by Hammers United. I've been asked to perform the Brian Walden role, shall we say, and host
the American guy. But you've got to go, shut up, man.
Was that related to last night?
Yeah, apparently
gosh.
The heckle. I'm presuming it was Trump tried to shout down Biden with "shut up, man." I think I don't know the full story. That seems to be the catchphrase of the day.
Well, I hope tomorrow night's show is a little more, well, perhaps not entertaining, but perhaps a little more mature than what America managed to muster up.
Be, Graham. It couldn't fail to be by the sound.
Well, no, it was dreadful, wasn't it? Absolutely, as someone said earlier, I think you felt sorry for the American people having watched that, given that was the choice, the two candidates they've got there to lead the country. Anyway, we're not going to get into American politics right now. We're wrapping up the show. Do join us Sunday for Eyes Up Mother Brown. Come and join us on the forum. Let us know what you thought of tonight's game. What you think about things at the club in general. Thank you to everyone who joined us, as always, on the live chat. We love reading out your comments and hearing what you think of the game and the stream and all that stuff. So West Ham out of the cup. Everton 4, West Ham United 1, and our League Cup, Carabao Cup dreams have to wait for another year. That's about it from us on the team tonight. We'll see you again very soon. Come on, you Irons.
Come on, Irons.